Ladies and gentlemen, to Monday night coverage of the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. It is the championship race. 43 drivers, 17 races, and we are down to our final 4 racing for the championship for season 4. As this is it here at Charlotte on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. My name is Sam Dyer. Joining me is Zach Hall. And Zach, what a season we've had, and it's all set up to here at Charlotte.
Man, I tell you what, Sam, it's here right now. This is the moment to close out season 4, and I know this is crazy to say, but I'm always nervous with these moments, man, because I know how much these drivers put in, how much effort goes throughout the season to get to this point, and what it means to win a championship. And, you know, all 4 of them have a good shot here tonight, Charlotte. I'm just going to be very interested to see who can get it done. It's going to be not only a physical battle and, you know, the test of skills, but it's also going to be a mental battle out there on track, because it's going to be hard to get away from your competition on this mile-and-a-half track.
Drivers have been practicing all week to get prepared for this moment here tonight. I know for myself, I've been trying to keep up with the Ollie Fonseca camp. I know for you, Zach, you've been in touch with that of Christopher Norris as well as Nick Crawford. I think there's just one driver, our final 4, that there's a lot of questions around, but we know he's going to be fast. That's Trenton Jump on the 46, our Season 2 champion, trying to become the first driver ever to become a 2-time champion of the ISRC Truck Series. Nick Crawford's coming in with redemption on his mind after being taken out early in the last season's Final 4 race at Phoenix. Ollie Fonseca, Christopher Norris, it's their very first Final 4 attempt to go for a championship. And Zach, the nerves all around.
The nerves are so high, man. I mean, I'm talking about me being nervous up here. You got to only imagine what these drivers are going through right now. This is what it all comes down to. When you have a format like this here, where you battle and put it all in one race, you got to go out there and execute a perfect race, and all it takes is one simple mistake to pop up, and that can completely ruin your night. So these drivers are going to be trying their best all night long to keep themselves in the game and have a shot when it comes down to the very end, because it can be that first, second lap of this race, and you can easily take yourself out, just like you talked about Nick Crawford last season. You know, was unfortunately involved in an accident with him and Danny Cochran in the first 25 laps of that race, and that completely ended his night. We knew he had no shot. So just because you get here and have a chance, you got to make sure you keep your mental nice, calm, and cool, because you got to get to that checker flag if you want to bring home the championship. And we got a possibility we could see the first 2-time champion also in Trenton Jump. And like you said, it's kind of the unknown for him. We haven't heard too much from his camp all week, but we know he's going to be fast. That driver always one to watch out for.
I mean, I got to talk to him for just a quick moment while in the middle of this practice session, and I asked him, what's the confidence level? And the one thing he said is, I'm winning this thing. There is certainly a high confidence for the 46, but it all starts here with qualifying. Practice is done. We got 5 minutes, and the drivers got 2 laps to put down their fastest times to put them up front to see who will get the pole, or at least have the best track position. The goal for tonight's race for those final 4 drivers is to be the person to finish ahead of the other 4. As if you win this race, it's not the most important thing in the world. Again, it's all about finishing ahead of the other driver, but Zach, it might have to be a win if you're going to take the championship here tonight.
It very well may take that win, Sam, and I think it will, personally. I think those 4 drivers, you know, they prepared the most. I know, talking like you said to Nick Crawford and Christopher Norris throughout the week, they have put in tons of laps. They have been really prepping for this race. So it usually does come down to those final 4 contenders, but there is other drivers that have been practicing out there to get right in the mix, to maybe help some teammates and make sure they're in a position to where maybe they can lend a hand, hold somebody up, or just help push them forward. Because again, this track here, a lot of things we're going to see is it's going to be very draft dependent. Yes, there will spread out slightly as the runs go on, but it's still going to be very packed up. I don't think you'll see the leader ever get too big of a lead other than when we see pit stops. So this right here is going to be super crucial with qualifying as they put down their fastest times to give themselves that nice, good track position to help keep those tires in a nice, good condition to start this race.
As you're going to be seeing already on screen, Trenton Jump top of the board on his first lap, and you will know our final 4 contenders by the golden marker on our ticker, as you can see there for the 46. His first lap, a 30.507. A lot of the drivers saying the second lap is their faster one of the 2, and Trenton Jump already top of the board. Got to be feeling confident as well, seeing his teammate from Armadillo Motorsports. It's the 53 of Eric Stamp in second. Here comes a couple of other drivers trying to trickle in. Ollie Fonseca going to find himself in 6th after that first run. But other drivers starting to move the board all around as Nick Crawford, actually the slowest of all the drivers, put in a time so far.
So far, yeah, that first lap was not his greatest, but we'll see what the second lap builds up to. Fonseca going to throw himself up to the 3rd position. Right now, we're not seeing times equivalent to what we've seen in practice. This track not up to the speed it had before, but Trenton Jump is loving what he's seeing right now. And even Ethan Smith up there right in the mix too, right in between him and Fonseca. So that throws a non-Final Four contender right in the mix. And Nick Crawford goes to the top of the board.
74 trying to show his mark here tonight. These drivers have been here in the past, and Nick Crawford, he got the pole last time they were here last season, and he's wanting to go for the pole and lead the most laps like he did, but he missed out on the win. 74 wants a little bit of extra. Trenton Jump, second time, gonna be better, but not best enough to take that pole away from Nick Crawford. Looking at the other drivers that are trying to put some times in. The rest of our Final Four are done and dusted, with 1 minute and 50 seconds left in qualifying. It's the rest of the field trying to put in some times. Here's Jesse Thornock in the 20 machine. He's had quite a run in the playoffs, being a non-playoff contender, but has influenced some of these races. The 20 tries to be fast every week, but let's see if we can keep his nose clean here tonight, as we're seeing the 20's first lap clock in, and it's going to be 18th fastest. Other drivers out there qualifying, the 26 of Tyler Horn, one of the rookies that joined this season. And I got to say, Zach, Tyler Horn doing what we saw Christopher Norris do, who's one of our Final Four contenders, not having the cleanest season in the world, but your rookie season, you're not expecting to be the cleanest driver out there. You're just trying to grow like we've seen some of the other drivers do so.
These drivers definitely that are coming in as rookies, man, and they have tough seasons, they need to take inspiration from that 38, and say, hey, look where he started. Now he's a Final Four contender. It shows you how much growth has happened here in ISRC with some of the drivers that have been here for the full tenure. It's like Horn going to come across the line this time and see where he puts himself. He'll move himself up to the 18th position on the board, just ahead of Justin Smith. So right now, second of the slowest drivers on the track, but the times are so close out here, only 2/10 separating Tyler Horn and Nick Crawford from the pole position. So it just shows you one slight bobble, you bog these trucks down, that horsepower slips away, and you just don't have the speed to carry back to the start finish line, and you can easily mess that time up. And I think that's kind of what's played out for Christopher Norris. Even he's back there right in the middle of this field in the 10th position. So it's going to be an interesting first stage for him, where he has to gain on those front 3 ahead of him.
And I was looking at the stats on trying to see these drivers for the playoffs, and as well at these 1.5-mile courses. Christopher Norris hasn't been averaging the best starting positions. This is kind of in his wheelhouse, qualifying either 8th to 10th. That's been his range for most of the playoffs, so no surprises he's back here in the field. But up front, seeing that of Nick Crawford, Trenton Jump, up on the top of the board, these are the 2 favorites. When you look at the wins and you look at also the stats of their best top 10s, top 5s of the season, these are the 2 top dogs to watch out for this playoffs. Ollie Fonseca has been growing and getting faster, but let's take a look at where the starting drivers are going to be for this race, as it is your Freaky Fast finale here at Charlotte for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series. And top of the board, it's Nick Crawford taking the pole here at Charlotte. Trenton Jump in 2nd, Ethan Smith 3rd, 4th goes to that of Joshua Altus. Ollie Fonseca starting back in 5th position, John Forbes in 6th, Cody Reed 7th, 8th is Eric Stamp, Danny Cochran 9th, Christopher Norris finishing out your top 10.
In the 11th position, it's going to be Logan Brakey. 12th here in qualifying is going to be GT Irizarry. 13th going to be taken home here by Dakota Norris. 14th position going to be held by Ryan Ferraro. 15th to 39 of Joshua Freed. 16th is going to be Martin Morales. 17th going to Matt Upbrook. 18th position here in qualifying to Jesse Thornock. 19th to Tyler Horn. Rounding out the top 20 is Justin Smith. And we got 2 cars left on the field. Malik Kuntz in 21st and 22nd, Zachary Peterson.
As Zachary Peterson finished out our 22 drivers here tonight. Zach, this is certainly going to be a fun race. 150 laps. Stage break's going to be at lap 60. No fast repairs. 4 sets in pit road. And drivers, been hearing it a lot this week, practicing for this stage. Hearing reports, they cannot take it to the end.
They definitely cannot. They're short on that fuel, so going to need a pit stop here if we stay green in this first 60 laps of the stage, and that's going to be crucial of how you time out the pit stop. So we'll see what the strategies are like. I know a lot of the drivers that were in the Final Four, at least 3 of them, were practicing that first stage a lot because, you know, yes, this first stage is not going to, the points that payout aren't going to matter here for the championship, but the track position that sets you up for that final 90 laps in this race can be so critical.
I gotta say, this is one of the races that you knew was gonna be exciting after watching last week. Last week's last lap, last pass by Christopher Norris to get by John Forbes. That pass enabled the 38 to be running for a championship and bounced out John Forbes. And now it's time to see who's willing to make the aggressive move this evening for a championship. Those contacts, those big moves last week were just for an opportunity. And Zach, now it's time to see who's willing to wreck it for a championship, or is everyone going to be playing nice tonight?
It's going to be the big question. What are you willing to put on the line? That is going to be a huge thing to see because we saw just to get into the Final Four, they were willing to do a lot. It could be even more to hoist that championship. So it's what all these drivers have been wanting to do all season long. They've been wanting to get to this point, get to this shot to fight for this championship. Now they've got it, those Final Four. Now they got to take control of it and do the best they possibly can. We'll see who wins it, and may the best driver do it.
There's been rumblings of alliances being made. Drivers try to play nice. Drivers openly saying they're going to be aggressive and fighting for every position. Non-playoff drivers, championship contenders. Everyone's going to put it on the line here tonight. It's the last race of Season 4. It's the championship race. It's the Freaky Fast finale here at Charlotte. Pace car is off, and let's get racing for the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series Season 4. It's coming to a finale, and here we go. It's Trent Jump, Nick Crawford sending us down into turn number 1.
Great start from the outside line for Trenton Jump there as he's actually going to be a nose ahead heading down into turn 1. And Nick Crawford going to fight back on this bottom lane. I think right here, these two are going to fight strong for this lead, just knowing how crucial this clean air can be here early to help you conserve those tires. Right now, it's a battle between those top 2.
The tires can get risky if you're not careful. Cold tires, exit of 4 is where drivers have been finding a little bit of danger zone, middle of the field, hoping to stay on course. Lap number 1, give it to Nick Crawford as his nose is ahead, trying to get clear, not fully just yet. Finally able to do so, and now it's side by side, back for 4th place as Ollie Fonseca is able to get gotten by, and it's our top 3 of our 4 championship drivers.
That's exactly what Fonseca wants to see. He's going to throw a little bit of a block there down to John Forbes, and looks like he'll clear him heading off into turn 3 here as that 24-hole positioning. That's what Fonseca wanted. You know, starting in the 5th position, he knew those 2 out front, but once he has to beat, he wants to immediately get right behind him so he can size him up here and figure out how he's going to march his way to the lead.
As you see the non-playoff contenders trying to figure out where to poke and put their nose moving forward, but our top 3 going to be choosing where they want to go, and it's going to be Trenton Jump already going to be putting his nose to the inside lane, trying to make the pass here on Nick Crawford. Driver saying the first 5 laps so crucial on where you're going to be as the 46 just barely touching the apron, but holds steady for himself. Ollie Fonseca thinking about going for the lead position. And up front, they are getting mixy here. Zach is Nick Crawford just having a nose ahead.
Just having that nose ahead, they're heading into 1, but it's going to be Trenton Jump in the preferred groove there in the 46 machine. As they come off of 2, it's going to be the 74th, a little bit better run on the outside line, able to carry the momentum. And like you said, Sam, I think you alluded to it, these first 5 laps are so important. It's hard to make passes the longer you get into this run. This is the point of the race where you got to fight for everything, knowing the tires are fresh.
Tires are fresh, and if you've got the lead position, you're going to conserve these tires so much better than everyone else. As the 46 still not able to fully clear, and this is where it gets dangerous. We're 5 laps in, and if you can't clear Nick Crawford now, the 74 could be able to hold off and defend this position for the rest of this run. But then you're questioning about the tires as they continue to stay side by side for the lead. Ollie Fonseca's been bounced out to the outside lane and almost tapped by the 11.
That's exactly right, Sam. In that outside lane, yes, it's easy to defend up there. You can hold people back as Fonseca does clear Forbes there off a hole luckily for himself, but Nick Crawford still fighting back on the outside. But I do have concerns when you race side by side like that. Not only does it hurt the driver on the bottom side's tires, but also that outside groove is known to hurt your tire rubber. So we'll see how it works out. But it looks like Trent Jump finally able to clear here, heading down into 3. And now Fonseca going to take a late dive there to the inside of Nick Crawford.
These front 3 drivers recognizing how crucial it is to be up front and battling with one another. Been a lot of practicing for all of these drivers, some as teammates, others alliances, some just trying to steal any data possible. Trent Jump's been the most quiet, though, of our final 4. I know that of Ollie Fonseca, Nick Crawford, Christopher Norris, they've been practicing and willing to just get any information, just to get faster throughout this race. We're seeing some of the rewards of this practicing, of seeing Ollie Fonseca and Nick Crawford up front, but that of Christopher Norris still trapped in 11th place. He has not been able to move forward in the 38 machine.
Definitely has not, Sam. Right now has lost that 1 position already to fall back to 11th and kind of just riding behind this pack. And, you know, this is the tough situation for him because he's in a predicament where he just needs to stay with this pack and make sure he has something for later as this run goes on to gain spots later, because it clearly is showing right here that he's just not confident to be able to go through the pack here and burn those tires up. So it looks like he's taking the less aggressive approach here compared to our top 3 and trying to manage his stuff here as the run goes on. We'll see how it works out for him, because right now he's got 2 drivers ahead of him side by side, and they're losing that pack up ahead.
Joshua Altis, who's on the outside of the 94, has given up the most positions out of anyone so far in this race. Has lost now 6 spots as he's fallen down to Logan Freeky. Now Christopher Norris ducking it down low, trying to get by this 94. Trying to save tires could be the thing for Joshua Altis here, as he is not looking comfortable after qualifying fourth. Christopher Norris able to follow suit, and he's following a pretty good driver here at Charlotte. Logan Freeky, this is one of his favorite tracks to be at. I know this 29 could be a threat to watch out for a top 5. Following in suit, not the worst thing in the world if you're this 38 machine.
It definitely is not. It's, you know, you can really learn from somebody even when you're behind them, and even just sometimes help you manage your stuff by, you know, going a little bit slower in the corners and then just getting that nice draft down the straightaways to pull you right back into position. Is they're about a couple car lengths back from Danny Cochran. We'll see if these 2 can close back up to him, because that's going to be the key factor. You cannot lose the draft up ahead of you. You want to stay right there with that pack up ahead, because everybody is going to be pretty much in a train here for majority of this run.
We have now entered a spot in the race where if drivers decided to come into pit road, they're going to be right on the limit. I know a lot of drivers talking about cutting this stage in half. We have our stage break at the end of lap 60. Usually when we were running other races, points would be a massive thing that we touch on how crucial it is to be inside of the top 10. Here tonight, though, it is all about keeping yourself in a up front position, keeping the track position. Points no longer matter. It's about your finishing spot, and the drivers in gold that you see in our ticker board. Whoever finishes ahead of the other ones wins the championship here tonight. As all the drivers that are not in gold, they're just running for a win. That is all the honor and glory they're going for.
And that win is a lot of glory these drivers will take. You know, the solace of not getting to the Final 4. They want to come out here and prove a point, saying, if I would have been in that Final 4, I would have been the champion. And I think that really is kind of the motivating factor a lot of these drivers who aren't in the gold, you know, have, is they want to come out here and really prove that they would have been a factor if they could have got to this point. So we'll see if anybody can play spoiler and take that win away from one of our championship 4. But right now it's the top 3 just in line. It's looking like right now everybody's settling in for the majority of this run.
Taking it easy, trying to protect the tires, the double zero of Ethan Smith. I know there's been a lot of rumbling about the double zero. How's he going to race here tonight, as he has not been happy? If you look back to last week's race, there was a complication where contact by being squeezed in between Nick Crawford and that Christopher Norris got the double zero very much upset. Felt like it was an on-purpose incident that intentionally was trying to get the double zero caught up in a mess. And he has been in kind of a vengeance mode. So he made the vengeance machine with the Punisher and also the V Vendetta machine that double zero made himself, recognizing, hey, if I'm around Nick Crawford or that of Christopher Norris, I'm going to make this the worst race possible for those drivers.
That he is definitely going to be trying to do, I think. So we'll see what he can do with that, you know, thought process. We'll see how it works out, see if he can get to be a factor in the mix when it comes down to it. But right now we got a little bit of mixing up here as Cody Reed As Eric Stamp looking to his inside. Stamp is having one of his best runs of this season here, as he's looking to get up here and maybe shake it up and help his teammate Trent jump out.
Eric Stamp coming into this race, he's got one top 5 as well, has that 3 top 10s, that 1 top 5 back in Chicagoland. The 53, he's got to be careful because here comes Danny Cochran in the 2 to the inside. And Danny's also running for his own type of honor. He wants to show, hey, if I made it to the Final Four, I would have been a major threat to watch out for us. That is a very close squeeze off the exit of turn 2 as Eric Stamp, Danny Cochran trying to make this pass as the 2 machine, but almost contact and forces the 53 wide.
53 way up the racetrack, and usually when you go way up the racetrack there in 3 and 4, there's not a ton of grip. So surprisingly, the 53 got a good launch off the exit and was able to get right back alongside this 2, but we'll see here down to 1. He's going to get that pass done in the 2, but look, Christopher Norris, he's going to love this because it's going to open up the door for him, and now he's going to clear Stamp off a 2, and now he's going to make his charge up to 8th, so the 38 starting to make a little bit of headway here.
Making the headway, and one of the fastest trucks in our top 10 currently is the 38 machine that we're right on board with, looking back to Eric Stamp, but in front of the 38, that's the 2 of Danny Cochran, the 25 of Cody Reed, as well as John Forbes. Plenty of drivers to try to get by. 38 recognizing we're only 18 laps in of 150. As well have that state ring at the end of lap 60. A lot of racing still here tonight. Freaky Fast finale here at Charlotte. All these drivers knowing track position key. But man, Zach, what a race it is and what a season it's been. A lot of up and down storylines for a lot of drivers. We're missing the most winning driver this season. Mark Whitley wasn't able to show up after his frustration of not making it to the Final Four. I know a lot of drivers upset that they couldn't make it to this point of the season.
They definitely are, man. It's so tough when you have this format like this. You can't make big mistakes, and for Mark Whitley's case, you can't miss races. It puts you into a must-win position, and if you don't go out there and win, then you just don't move on. So tough break for him. I mean, I know he's probably not the biggest fan of this format, but also you got to look at it as this format gave him still a chance too. So missing a race in a chase format, you'd be completely out of it by losing just too many points. But he did have the chance to go and win last week in Atlanta, just could not get it done. So we'll see what he can do if he comes back next season and see if he can finally get that championship that's been eluding at 77. But we got some good racing here. As it looks like GT, he's closed up to the back bumper of Logan Breaky, who looks to be struggling a little bit with his lap times. He's fallen off.
After being passed by Christopher Norris, he has been going backwards for the 29 as GT Razari sends it into the corner. Center off is where we might be seeing some issues. Logan Breaky trying to put the squeeze on the 14. They continue to stay side by side on the front stretch. GT Razari, Logan Breaky, 2 drivers that made it to the playoffs, to that of the round of 16. Not able to move on after that first round, but both very quick drivers when it's necessary at these 1.5 miles as they continue to stay side by side. Malik Kuntz is starting to close in on this battle for 10th place.
Interesting too for Malik Kuntz is he started all the way in the rear of this field in that 21st position. Only one person started behind him, and it's Zachary Peterson. So that 98 looking pretty quick here to try to break himself maybe up to the top 10 here very early in this race from starting that far back.
One of the few times we haven't seen Malik Kuntz put in a qualifying time. Usually a driver that qualifies well and then attacks, sometimes falls back. 98 able to get by Logan Breaky, and he'll set up for the 14 here in the Ford machine. GT Razari, driver that won the last race of the Season 2 championship, where Trenton Jump got his championship at Homestead. Very different 1.5 mile course. Trying to find that same little bit of magic as Cody Reed has lost his spot to Christopher Norris, and Norris up another position for the 38.
Good job by the 38 there. He's continuing his march forward. That's exactly what he needs to do. This is a long race here, 150 laps. He does not need to go out here and win this stage. He needs to focus on trying to get himself maybe in a top 5 position to set him up for that last 90 laps. Because, that's where you're going to win this race. Right now, this is not the most crucial time. This is more of a track position building time. And right now, he's definitely slowly marching his way forward in that 38. Again, he's got these drivers right in his vision. But it's right now Ali Fonseca who we're riding on board with. He can see right now Trenton Jump and Nick Crawford, they've been going at it. They have pretty much stayed bumper to bumper for the majority of this. Fonseca dropped back a little bit. I'm interested to see if this 24 can kind of drive up closer to that front group here as this run heads on.
Fonseca been running a lot of time this week as well with his spotter. Brandon Davies have been trying to put in the numbers of how they wanted to strategize for this stage, and as well after this stage break is over. I know Ollie and a spotter have been trying to find different ways to strategize. They even built out that of a full program to calculate the numbers of how much tire wear they were using. Up is talking about using up. John Forbes and Danny Cochran there practically using each other up on the exit of the corner. But the 24 in that team, they've been trying to figure out the right numbers for the right strategy, the pace that they wanted to put down on their tires to maximize their speed in the long run. I wouldn't be surprised, watch out, in the next 10 laps or so, if Ollie Fonseca can do a heroic push to try to get by these top two right before pit stops.
Have to see what he can do here, Sam. It was close action there. The two got to the inside of Forbes and just got a little bit tight as the 11 was not trying to give him too much room there. He's saying, yeah, I got the positioning on the outside. You're going to have to hold it down there. And that's where Cochran had the lift in the two machine. But right now, looks like Christopher Norris starting to close a little bit up to this two. We'll see if he can maybe get by one of these two up ahead of him. And I think for Christopher Norris, the big thing for him, he's got to keep his mental cool here because he's coming up to Ethan Smith. And I think that's been the storyline heading into the week is what would Ethan Smith do to this 38 if he got up to him, because he kind of felt wronged by the 38 and the 74.
Felt wronged by them, and it's felt like this has been a season-long brewing after some of the aggression and talking points. We watched that of the long run last season of that behind the scenes of the season 3 playoffs. Ethan Smith kind of was the villain of that arc, and he felt like in some fashions, yes, he took that villain arc for himself and continued on with it, saying, I'll take the villain role. But in some ways, he felt like it wasn't truly a villain arc that should have been placed on him at times, as Christopher Norris trying to get by Danny Cochran, not able to gets boxed in with the 11 in front. But these drivers certainly, taking things personal at times, and it could bubble over into the race.
It really could. We'll have to see how that works out here. He's definitely closed up to that group ahead of him, but Nick Crawford early pit stop here. I like the undercut here. We'll see how it works out for the 74.
Also into pit road, going to be Eric Stamp in the 53 who makes the pit stop, and Eric Stamp going to the very aggressive call of 2-tire pit stop for the 53 machine.
Very, very interesting call there for him. I know a few drivers were trying that, and it definitely threw the balance off for a loop in that thing. So we'll see how that works out. We'll also see, when does Trenton jump flinch? When does he say, I can't come down, wait any longer, I need to come down, as he continues on for another lap? We'll see what this works out. I think this is some smart strategy thrown by Nick Crawford, who was, right there on the back bumper of Trenton Jump. So that tells me if you can stay right on the back bumper of somebody, normally you have a little bit more pace advantage. Maybe with that clean air here on this run, when Jump gets to him, he'll have that little bit of advantage to hold him back here.
Also into pit road, Christopher Norris, the lap after his teammate of Nick Crawford hits pit road, and this could be a great advantage that both those drivers are taking by pitting early. The disadvantage is if a caution comes out. They're tracked one lap down for the both of them currently, and it would be Christopher Norris getting the lucky dog spot currently, but more drivers trickle into pit road. It's going to be GT Rosari, Cody Reed, Malik Kush, as well as Joshua Altis, all heading into pit road.
That is the risk of the strategy that you play there. And with Eric Stamp taking those 2 tires, he actually came out right ahead of Nick Crawford, and luckily Crawford was able just to get by him here, so not held up by that 53 at all. But the big thing for them, they're going through traffic right now for Christopher Norris and Nick Crawford. With everybody hitting pit road, this is a tricky time for them to be going, through the field. And here comes Trenton Jump, like you said. Here we'll see how this works out and where they shake out when this all cycles through.
And as well, John Forbes almost got his rear end taken off by that of Danny Cochran, as there was a very close contact of them entering, and with slight damage on the rear bumper of the 11. I think there might have actually been contact made between the 11 and the 2 on the entry.
There definitely was. I looked to the 2, and he's got some right front damage, so some contact there coming to pit road. As it looks like Ethan Smith, he's taking the long route here and going to go longer than anybody as he continues to stay out, along with him and Logan Brakey, Joshua Free, Mark Morales, Jesse Thornock, Matt Upbrook, and Zachary Pearson. So our top 7 stay out. But man, this is gonna be interesting. With that damage on the 2, that's gonna hurt him. But caution!
Oh, and looking to see who brought it out, and it is Trent.
Oh man, he spun coming off the exit of pit road here, Sam.
and John Forbes had to avoid him. Many drivers almost collected into running into the 46, and this yellow is absolutely terrible for some because drivers were in pit road getting service done, others were still on the lead lap, and we could be seeing some strategy made because I know Ethan Smith, Zach, is still kind of upset about the races that were done last season where he felt like some drivers were wronged by strategy calls of drivers staying out and trapping drivers a lap down. Could we see Ethan Smith decide to just stay out and trap the majority of the field one lap down?
Could very well be the case, and the lucky thing for Ali Fonseca is he stayed on the lead lap there. He was on pit road, but stayed on the lead lap, so it works out really well for the 24 there. I think Nick Crawford, he may get the lucky dog, but others are most likely going to be trapped here. But it looks like the 00 will come down, as I think he kind of had no choice with, he would have had to make a green flag stop, and that would have ruined his race. So he comes down anyways, but still, nonetheless, this is going to put everybody in a weird situation now with a bunch of wave rounds happening. Oh, man, this is cooking up everything with Trenton Jump, our early leader, having a huge mistake there coming off of pit road.
Issues arising there, and now Ali Fonseca will become our leader for this restart, and he just came out of pit road when the yellow was thrown, so he didn't even get green flag laps set on this set. He's going to be just fine setting up front and having the majority of drivers deciding to take 4 tires and fuel. Nick Crawford's going to have to go to the end of the line, and that's going to push the 74 back to 9th place on this restart on old tires.
That was best case scenario for Ali Fonseca, worst case scenario for Nick Crawford there in the 74. Luckily for him, with all the wave rounds, he will restart in 9th, so it wouldn't be a tail end of the longest line technically. But still, he's got the oldest tires, and that's the one thing that's going to hurt him here. He's going to have tons of drivers with fresh, brand new tires right behind him, ready to go. Nick Crawford and Christopher Norris, who played the early stop, we talked about it. That was the risk you played, and right there, it bites him. Is now Fonseca. He looks to be in the driver's seat.
Set up and ready to get rolling as we're past the halfway marker of this stage break. We still have our stage concluding at the end of lap 60 for these drivers. Our top 10 would give that a bonus points, but what a bizarre timing. In the middle of pit cycles, Ali Fonseca, Danny Cochran, and others were in pit road, but Ollie was the only driver who was able to get back out on track before the pace car passed him and leaders passed him. It's going to give the 24 the lead position. Ethan Smith, Logan Breakey, Joshua Freed, Jesse Thornock, as well as everyone back to that of 8th place. Going to be in a good spot for themselves on this run. And what a bizarre timing for these drivers and track position here, Zach. It's been difficult for some to pass. And on older tires, I just don't see how Nick Crawford is going to be able to rebound from this until our stage break is thrown.
You're exactly right. Yeah, they're going to be very, very bad off here. I mean, it was really 6 laps on tires there that were up to speed for them. That's going to be a considerable difference, folks. And especially when you do the undercut, that difference that you have, you want that because then you have the gap to people, but that gap goes away with this caution that you get for the undercut. Now you just have the older tires. They're sitting in a really weird predicament for that team and also the 38, so they're going to have to figure this out. Trenton Jump there with his slide. He's back in 15th, having to take the wave around. I mean, how much did that slide hurt his tires? We'll have to see for that, but man, Fonseca has got to be licking his chops right now because there is literally no better situation than what played out for him right there. He is sitting, like I said, in the driver's seat. He's got tons of track position over the other 4 drivers. There's still a long way to go in this race, of course, but those other drivers are going to have to really try to make up a ton of ground here at the end of this stage. And with some of them being on older tires, that ground to be made up is most likely not going to happen.
And if you're Ali Fonseca, you're, again, due to the fact of track position, you're looking at your chops, but also the fact that you have no rivals. The 24 has kept his nose pretty much clean all season long. There was the one hiccup between the 24 and the 00 at Twin Ring Motegi earlier in the season, but they've kind of squashed that beef that happened for just a race. But besides that, I've been just hearing reports of drivers saying, yeah, no, we'll race Ollie clean. We'll give him all the space he needs. it's the other three drivers. I've been hearing a lot of, well, we're going to race them difficult just because of how they raced us in the past. And so we're going to make things as tough as they can be. So this 24 set in a prime position now. And we're just in the early portions of this race. As pace car lights are off, we're going this time by. You see all the drivers that took the wave around trying to catch up to the end of the line and get ready for this restart. It's going to be Ollie Fonseca on the inside, Ethan Smith, Logan Breakey, Joshua Freed, as well as Jesse Thornton going to be your top 5, ready to get rolling here tonight for that of the Freaky Fast finale at Charlotte. You're watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series Championship race. The drivers in gold are racing for the championship. I know we got a lot of people in chat spamming on who they want to win this championship. Can't wait to see who gets it done. Pace car is off, and we're back to Green Flag Racing here tonight at Charlotte as Ollie Fonseca, Ethan Smith get roaring and heading down into turn number 1.
Great start for Fonseca. This is exactly what he needs. And I tell you what, everybody buckle your seatbelt because it's about to get a little bumpy here. I think you're going to see a ton of aggressive moves being made here from a few of the drivers that had to take waves. It's going to get very wild here in these next 20 laps while we end out this stage here.
And that a Trenton jump. He's back in 15th position. Christopher Norris in 12th. Nick Crawford in 8th. Those drivers right in the middle of everything. And Nick Crawford had almost the scare as Jesse Thornock was able to give some space after slipping up. And Trent jump up to 14th position, trying to get by some of his other drivers. But Christopher Norris, he might be in the most scary spot that you could ask for with some of the drivers that are around him.
That he is. This is a hornet's nest here, folks. As you see Thornock on the bottom, there's Peterson, and now Forbes coming into the picture. And there's Trent Jump, that last truck right there in the background. Is now the 38 going to drive to the 20s outside, and that was almost super close there. Literally, the 20 was going to wash up, and the 38 just gave him just enough room. That could have been race ending there if they would have made major contact. But right now, the 38 trying to get this pass done on this 20.
Trying to make the pass done, and they've got to watch out because the 46 of Trenton Jump is getting very much speedy with the tires. It looks like the slide didn't hurt them too much as the 46 is trying to stay low and make these passes, and he's thinking about forcing it 3 wide if he can get to the bottom quarter panel, and he will. Jesse Thornock moves high, tries to get out of the way as now Zachary Peterson being the blocker of the 46.
See how aggressive everybody is here. This is going to be all about gaining spots. They want to get back up to where they were. Trenton Jump so confident coming in tonight from talking to you, Sam. He does not want that slap mistake there off the exit of pit road to come back and be the thing that held him back from winning this thing. Right now, he's making the charge through up the 10th already for him. Next on the list would be Christopher Norris, so we'll see how those two battle as being 2 championship 4 drivers. But Nick Crawford surprisingly able to get up to 6, making a couple quick passes there. We'll see how they can hold on because we got 20 laps here in this stage.
Ren Jump, that confidence that he had. One phrase, I'm winning this thing, was all that he said when I asked him what the confidence level is like, and he certainly is running like he's going to want to win this thing. Up front, though, Ollie Fonseca thought he was going to be having a clear breeze of being in the lead spot. Take that away. The 24 under heavy pressure from Trenton Jump's teammate of Logan Breakey, who's on the outside.
I'm not surprised to see that, Sam. I think Breakey said, you know what? We need to go up here and burn the tires up so we don't let this 24 just have clean, open track. And it's caused a stack up. You got Upbrook here. You got Martin Morales right behind him with Ethan Smith there in the 3rd spot on the bottom lane. This is heating up here as even Nick Crawford now up to that 6th position. They're starting to even gain a little bit on them. This could bring all 4 of these drivers right back in the mix. You see Trenton Jump back there. He's making his move even. So everybody going for it here on lap 43.
Fonseca, what's making this frustrating is, yes, when he came out of pit road, he was on fresh tires when the caution flag came out, but he did run a 2 to 3 laps trying to catch up to the pace car. That could have put a little bit more wear and tear than he thought he wanted, and Logan Breakey, part of the crew that was able to just come into pit road, had the freshies, and working the outside lane, keeping the pressure, as our top 5 still trying to hold steady for themselves. Updates from drivers those behind. For 9th place, Trenton Jump was able to get by Christopher Norris. Norris just trying to settle in, save those tires for the long run. But Zach, all the pressure is right here for the lead.
That really is this 29. How long will he be able to last up there? That's going to be the huge question, I think, here. He needs to do as long as possible to help out his teammate at Trenton Jump, and that's what he's doing right now. Is a little loose there. Now the 24 going to clear him, and that was close to being almost contact there. As now Ethan Smith, he's going to drop back to fourth, but now look at Matt Upbrook, one of the playoff darlings there that really made some pretty big upsets in that first round. Now he's in the mix here. He's going to get a little tight, wash up the track, and allow Ethan Smith to get back to his inside.
Matt Upbrook took the final spot in the playoffs, had to race his way in at Bristol, then what made a Cinderella story run through the round of 16 to make it to the round of 12. Got bounced out there. This 15 wanting to show why he made it into the playoffs, as strategy has worked out for the 15, and the aggressive racing almost thought he was going to bounce it to the inside. Thought otherwise. It's our top 5 in line working with one another. Now Nick Crawford seeing a driver duck down low. It's the 39 of Joshua Freed. Putting the pressure on Nick Crawford now as Trent Jump right in the mix back there in 9th place.
Definitely right in the mix for sure, Sam. He's liking what he's seeing right here ahead of him. He's seeing one of his other contenders getting a little bit of contention between him and that 39 machine of Freed. And Freed on those fresher tires should be able to get this done, but Nick Crawford able to hang on for now. And you know, with how short we got left in this run, these drivers are using everything. They are not backing up these corners. They are using the tires because they know every single spot's going to matter once this yellow flag comes out, because they want to be somewhat close to Fonseca. They don't want to be 5-6 positions back. They want to be within a couple positions to allow them for those last 2 runs to get the job done. Is right now Crawford able to hold on, but it's going to be Cochran in the 2, the teammate of Fonseca. He wants to get in the mix and help out his teammate and hold back these 2 here.
Trying to find different ways. I know Danny Cochran, at one moment during the week, was thinking about, I'm not going to race. Maybe I'll be a spotter or crew chief for Ollie Fonseca and help him in that fashion. Instead, racing here tonight and doing another great teammate work, which is forcing the other drivers around you to use up their tires more than they would like. As we're 49 laps in of 150, the stage break here this evening at the end of lap 60. And if you haven't seen it already, you're watching now. Well, in the chat, we have a poll. Who do you think is gonna win the championship? All 4 driver numbers are there. Is it Ollie Fonseca, Christopher Norris, Trent Jump, or Nick Crawford gonna win? Right now, Ollie Fonseca with 62% thinking he's gonna win this championship. Where he's running right now, that's a good prediction, but still a lot of racing to go. As we're watching Joshua Freed, Danny Cochran still battling side by side for 7.
They are battling hard here. Cochran is trying to get around him, but that outside groove, it works, but it just doesn't work as well as that bottom groove, and it also hurts the tires. So he's got to get it done, but right now he's having a lot of trouble with Crawford right ahead of Freed. That's slowing him up on the inside, so it's keeping these 2 kind of directly side by side. And you know, that's what Nick Crawford wants to see, though. He wants to be playing that game of give the draft to the guy that's farther back, give the draft to the guy that gets ahead then when you go into the corner, so you take away that air from him. And I think Crawford really playing it smartly right now in the 6th position. As we just crossed the line that last time by. A third of this race is done and dusted. We got 100 laps to go.
100 laps to go, 10 before the stage is thrown, and the goal flag will be thrown to reset the field at our stage break, unless there's a caution on lap 55, 260 before the end of lap 60, then that would count as our stage break. To fall back to Christopher Norris, he's fallen to 12th position on these older tires. The 38 really was not able to keep the pace that he wanted to battle with the drivers up front. He's lost touch again. It just feels like our top 3 currently in the playoff, our final 4, they just seem on a different level than Christopher Norris. Norris is much faster on the long run, and he's gonna need some help if he's gonna battle for this championship later on in this race. Might need a strategy call that could change things up, or even a caution that could put him in a better spot right now.
One thing that will help him just that tiny bit is his strength on the longer run will help him for this next portion of the race. If we get majority of those 90 laps green, we have to go longer than what we did earlier, and I think that will help him out a little bit. But again, the track position loss, I mean, he's starting even farther back than what he would be from where he qualified. That's going to be a net loss for him in his opinion. So it's definitely one of those situations where if you're Christopher Norris, you got to try to at least maybe get one of these spots back from Malik Kuntz and try to get up there and somewhat close relative to the other 3 that are battling up here, because Fonseca in a perfect region being out front. The rest of the other 3, they are trying to make up for their problems that happened during that pit sequence.
Trying to salvage anything they can as Trent Jump gets close to the outside wall. Can it force Danny Cochran and Zachary Peterson almost collecting into one another? as one tiny little error almost wipes out one of our championship 4. As seeing the 2 as well as the 46, these two drivers, Zach, think back to season 2, they had some of the most epic racing for a championship you could ask for back for that season 2 championship at Homestead. Being and banging, they were all scrapped up practically at the end of that race, and it was Trent Jump that got the championship at the end of the day.
That it was. Those two were not fond of each other for sure after that season, but they've definitely come to have much more of an understanding with each other. So I got to commend those two for growing as much as they did and not having their tiffs on the track as much. But that was close action there as Jump got tight. Cochran tried to make the move to the inside, and Peterson was just there. So it was just a close hole. Cochran went for the hole, and it just did not almost work out well. But luckily they make it through it. But right here, Fonseca getting a little bit of a threat here. This 0-0. Ethan Smith looking quick here. And this is not what Fonseca wants to see, because even Nick Crawford back there in 6th, he's trying to make a pass to get back into the top 5. That's so impressive from him, because he's on, I mean, literally 3 to 4 lap older tires than anybody.
Yeah, he is on the oldest set of tires than anyone else, and 74 doing a great job of keeping his pace. But Ethan Smith, I'm not expecting him to try to force the issue and go for a pass here. I think if it's later on in the race, maybe if this is for the win, you go for the pass. I think at this point, he's just settling in this spot as second place, saying, you know what, he's racing for a championship. Don't want to put him in a risky position just yet. Maybe later on, as we're coming to 4 laps to go before this stage is done. And if a caution flag comes out before the end of lap 60, that will count as our stage break. These drivers recognizing the end of lap 60 is the number they're aiming for.
That they are, Sam, and Fonseca doing a great job through that first part of this stage to get to where he's at, waited longer, and it paid off. And right now he's taking the benefits of that. As you see Nick Crawford there in the background for a moment, he made the pass on Upbrook. He's up to 5th. And the question for me then, can he get up to Logan Breaking and Martin Morales here? As those two having excellent runs with the timing of that caution too, as they were still out there on the racetrack when the caution came out. So Martin Morales really taking the benefits of that there by running top 3.
Martin Morales, what a stint he's had these last 4 or 5 weeks. He's been trying to finish in the top 10, aiming for top 5 finishes. 91 has been very impressive, and honestly could have been a major threat to watch out for here. If he had made it into the playoffs, he missed out by that of 4 positions on making it into the playoffs, but that 91 certainly could be a driver to watch out for, because he's kind of doing the Ollie strategy of showing in the playoffs. Hey, it might be a driver to watch out for next season. Gotta be careful. As we're on the last lap of the stage, it's the lap stage break about to be underway as Ollie Fonseca, Ethan Smith lead the charge at a turn number 2.
That he is, in a good-looking 24 machine there down the back straightaway. He's definitely loving how this has played out. Was running 3rd before it all shook up. Now he's going to come back and win stage 1 and have the perfect spot for ending out this final 90 laps of the races. He hits the line a little bit and gives Ethan Smith a chance there.
Given a chance, they wait for 10th place to officially cross the line before yellow flag comes out, and the line is crossed. Stage yellow about to be thrown, and that is it. Your stage break for the last race of the season, and it's Ollie Fonseca taking the stage win. And other drivers is Trenton Jump back in 7th, Nick Crawford in 5th. But this big story, Christopher Norris trapped back in 12th place. But Zach, we're heading into the game changer. It was the biggest game changer of last season. It's pit stops about to be underway.
That it was. Pit stops was a huge topic of discussion there during last championship race there at Phoenix. It was all about getting the track position to get out front that Danny Cochran did. He beat Mark Whitley out, and that could be something similar we see later here if we get a late race caution or even just a simple mistake on pit road. All it takes is for Ollie Fonseca to slide through his box, and then Nick Crawford might even be ahead of him. So, I mean, with the way Crawford did there with those older tires, that really put him in position to still be in for the fight for the championship, even though, I mean, it looked like a dire situation there for a moment.
That it certainly did. As drivers getting in line, getting prepared, we will talk to Ollie Fonseca after pit stops are done. But this 24 machine Looking good in these first couple laps. Qualified in 5th place, settled in 3rd for the majority of the first half of this stage, but in the middle of those green flag pit stops. The late caution set up the 24 for this position. Wins the stage, and here we go. It's pit stops. The 24 hoping that he hits his markers perfectly, doesn't slide through his box, doesn't get too far to the left or right, and you're asking for perfection to keep this lead position.
That you are, Sam, and we'll see how he does into his box here. He was the 5th place qualifier here tonight. We'll see where he stops in the box just perfectly there. Gets it nice and stopped and right in the edge of the line. And that was an aggressive entry even. So he gained time, in my opinion, on a lot of people by how fast he just went to the box but didn't slide through. That's the key factor, and he should win the race off pit road here.
Exiting out of pit road, and it will be Ollie Fonseca beaten now. Ethan Smith, Mark Morales almost taking the nose for 3rd. Logan Brickey 4th. Nick Crawford 5th. As Trenton Jump takes 6th. 7th goes to Joshua Freed. Matt Upbrook 8th. And 9th is Malik Kuntz. And Christopher Norris does a fantastic pit stop. He gains 2 positions up to 10th.
Huge for that 38 team there. They need to gain what they can, and pit stops is the easiest place to make passes.
As we obviously seen these drivers done with their stops, we'll see if we can bring in the stage winner of Ollie Fonseca to get the 24's thoughts on this upcoming restart. As your stage break winner of the Laugh Lap, being your stage break sponsor, Ollie, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, you win the stage. Had a little bit of a scare there with green flag pit stops in the time of the yellow, but you find yourself up front. How are you feeling so far after these first 60 laps?
Pretty good, man. It's good to be up here in this thing. It's right where I want to be. So, good spot. Just hope we can finish this thing out. Maybe try to work on saving that right front a little bit more. But yeah, I'm feeling good. I got clean air, and we'll see if we can maintain this.
Well, you just said it there. The question I was going to ask you is, clean air, man. How crucial do you think this is going to be now that it's been handed to you out front here? This has got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's definitely everything. It's pretty much the same as Atlanta. You know, I was riding behind Trenton and Nick there. I just couldn't. I wasn't really losing ground on him, but I just couldn't gain anything. For every single time I tried to gain, it was just heating up that right front, and that's not what you want here. So we're just trying to work on that a little bit, and yeah, we'll see if we can just finish this thing out.
I know, Ollie, you've been focusing with your team on getting set up for this race. How has the team effort been with working with your spotter and with your teammates so far here tonight?
Oh, it's made a huge difference. It's everything. These guys do so much for me, and it's a pleasure to be out front in this position for them at Larson Line and my spotter Brandon. They've just been working their butts off with me all week. I must have ran at least 1,000 laps this week in preparation for this event. So I'm stoked that it's seeming like it's starting to pay off, and hopefully we'll be out front at the end here.
We'll send you back to your team, and good luck on this restart, Ollie.
Thank you.
As that will be the 24 machine and your stage winner here for yourself for the Freaky Fast finale at Charlotte. Ollie Fonseca in the 24, feeling confident. And the Laugh Lap is a meme page. You get to go over to Instagram and go look up the_laugh_lap to go get your daily memes that are related to NASCAR and other motorsports to get your good laughs and get yourself started right. Thank you so much to the amazing sponsors here at the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series as well, the title sponsor of Race Car Graveyard. If you'd like to get yourself started with diecast collecting, go get yourself great collections with 124th to 164th NASCAR diecasts. They're available new, used, or customs. Get your Race Car Graveyard diecast today. Thank you so much to the amazing sponsors. We'll talk about more of them later on in the night. But Zach, restart time. The stage is done. There's no more confirmed yellows. It's got to be on-track incidents to bring one out. Oh, here we go for the rest of and to finish out this season.
That it is, man. The finish of the season here in season number 4, and what a way to do it. That was a crazy sequence there that happened through stage 1. Something we didn't expect to happen was Trenton Jump definitely spinning out during his pit stop sequence. And, you know, Nick Crawford and him really lost out in that. But they get back up to 5th and 6th. We'll see how aggressive they are, because I tell you what, I think aggression is going to be turned to a new level. You got to, if you're the 74, try to be with that 24 when we get the pit stops.
Trying to get themselves set up, prepared. Those pit stops going to be crucial as these drivers aiming for a one stop here potentially to take us to the end of this race. We look at the Geico restart zone as the pit road is getting the pace car. The rest of the drivers, we're ready to get back to green flag racing. It's the Freaky Fast finale. Back to green flag action. Ollie Fonseca, Ethan Smith roar down into turn number 1.
Great start for Fonseca. He's able to get Ethan Smith right on the back bumper as they head through 1 and 2. It's going to be Nick Crawford all over the back of Martin Morales. And if he can get himself up to 4th, and right now he's even got Trenton Jump looking to his inside. He's going to throw a block down the back straight away. These two are going to be super aggressive. They know what's on the line here. They need to go forward.
They are moving forward, trying to get by the teammate of Logan Breaky. Breaky just goes completely high and wide to let his teammate drive. And now it's going to be Martin Morales and others. But drivers are getting caught up in a wreck. Big, massive contact in the middle of the field as drivers could not make it through the exit of turn 4. And drivers have blown engines. And the big one strikes here early on.
That it does. The big one strikes, man, and that happened right off the exit of 4, and that's kind of what we alluded to earlier, you know, when we first started this race, is how it can get loose right there right off the exit of 4, and these drivers having a tough time getting woed up, and had some others coming there late. It was just a calamity there off of 4 as we get this instant replay queued up. But one of our final 4 contenders, he luckily escapes through. Christopher Norris was close to that action.
Very close to that action. Drivers with required damage. Tyler Horn, Dakota Moniz, Ryan Ferraro forced to come into pit road. Might be seeing a couple of others coming into pit road as well to get service done. But this wreck, like you said, right next to Christopher Norris, and what a scare for himself to have the driver right next to you just lose it off the exit of the corner.
It really is, Sam. You can, you know, especially with Christopher Norris, I know he's on triple screen. Sometimes you can just see it out the corner of your left eye when someone's spinning like that. And it just steps out from Malik there, right in front of Cody Reed. Reed, really nowhere to go for him. And he does a great job to get that truck turned down, but it's all Tease. Ferraro, the 5 of Moniz comes in here. He's going to get a little bit of contact. Even Eric Stamp, Jesse Thornock's going to, I think, run the back of it. Looks like John Forbes there. And it's just mayhem there off the exit of 4. As there's just trucks going left and right as they're trying to gather it up.
Back out the field, some not able to slow down, others just jamming on the brakes, and that's going to force a lot of drivers into pit road. That is 14 on back. All going to get service done for themselves. Again, 3 drivers forced with required damage. Tyler Horn, as well as Ryan Ferraro and Jesse Thornock, all having to deal with that required damage. But playoff 4, the final 4, at least we're not caught up in that one. So they're still at full song. But Zach, for Christopher Norris, that certainly was a scare, but at least it's a free position he could think for himself to move up. It also gives time for these drivers to cool off and try for another restart. But that means, Zach, like we've touched on at other courses, when there's a quick caution after another, these tires are just going to be a little bit colder now.
They are, Sam. They're going to cool down just that much more. I mean, they literally just got off of 4 for 1 lap. That put a little bit of heat in the tires, but they were already cool from that restart where they go around, they put the tires on, they pace around this racetrack. Then, you know, we get that quick lap there. Now even more pace laps. The tires are going to be even cooler, so drivers are going to have to watch out for it, man. These things are going to be probably looking to step out and get sideways on them, and they'll see how they can manage their equipment here, and it can easily step away from you. I mean, we saw Malik Kuntz. He's been one of the fastest cars, or really trucks out there all night long, and it just stepped away from him that quickly. It can easily be one of our final 4 contenders that has that same exact event happen. We'll just have to see if they can hold on to it, unlike that 98 who unfortunately went around right in front of the field.
And the driver is getting themselves prepared for this restart, and what a interesting moment to have as we're still waiting for the pace car lights to go off. Let's head down to 9th place position of Christopher Norris. Let's get his thoughts on that after having to avoid that madness. How is he feeling after that scare? Christopher Norris, it's Sam and Zach out of the booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Well, we saw that it was Malik Kuntz who got loose underneath you. How are you feeling after being able to avoid that carnage?
That was pretty great. These tires are awful in the first 2 laps, especially like you just saw there that he got very loose. I saw it and I also heard it with him spinning out, and I just saw that gas pedal and I slammed it to make sure to get involved.
You did a good job of missing that incident there, Christopher. Now back up to the 9th position. You started 10th here tonight, and we're slowly able to work yourself up here. How confident do you feel that you can get yourself back into contention here? Because that first pit stop sequence just not going the way you liked with that caution coming out.
Yeah, I definitely have some work to do. I want to try to pass these 3 in front of me. I mean, if I don't, I don't. I might be able to get them in 15 laps. We'll see. I'm just hoping for no more yellows unless I really need it. But just hoping to keep it smooth, keep it smart, keep it straight, and see what we can do at the end.
Seems like a strong strategy there, Norris. Well, we'll send you back to your team, but good luck on this next restart.
Thank you.
Well, Zach, I know that you got to really talk with that of Nick Crawford and Christopher Norris. Certainly got the wreck avoidance there, but man, how are you seeing these drivers? Is this kind of what their game plan was that you were noticing from how the practice went for these drivers?
Yeah, kind of like that. I did a lot of practice with them. I got a few sessions in with the guys. I know got to see a little bit of the tendencies and stuff, and we felt like talking to them, the undercut was going to be powerful, so they went for it, and that unfortunately caught them out. But we'll see what kind of strategy they play here. I think around that 105 to 110 mark, if we go green from here, will be that area where we start to see pit road get a little busy. But it's just going to be the question of who pulls the trigger first and who wants to get out front and get that clean air. Because, again, that clean air is just worth everything in my book.
iRacing that we cannot prepare for as these drivers stacked up. Pace car lights are off, and we've lost our first driver of the night, Ryan Ferraro. After being caught up in that last wreck, he has left the server and is done. Who might be joining him in the race car graveyard? Let's find out as we're back to Green Flag Racing here for the Freaky Fast finale at Charlotte.
It's a great start again from Fonseca, and it was Martin Morales who's sleeping there a little bit. That allows Nick Crawford to get the good strong pass up the third. That's what he wants to see, but it's that 0-0 ahead of him, and that was the driver that alluded. He was not going to make it easy on this 74 and that number 38. Look, throws a big block.
A big block, maybe a little bit late, but Nate Crawford might have been predicting the block. Fake left, went right, and now side by side with the 0-0 as Ethan Smith almost making contact off the exit of turn 4. And it's time to see these drivers get a little scrappy as we head down into turn number 1.
We'll see what happens here, Sam. We know that block was definitely there trying to hold that 74 back, but the 74 did a great job to get to the outside, and I think he's going to have the position here heading down to 3. He's going to cut down in front, and Fonseca, they're going to throw a little block, and now the 74 to the inside.
The aggression that we have never seen from Nick Crawford before. Usually he's passive, lets the race just come to him. Instead says, I'm going to take this race for myself. And the 74 with the nose ahead leads that lap. And behind them, Trent Jump almost jumped it last lap out of the exit of turn 2. Now run on the back bumper of Ethan Smith for third.
He is loving this. Trent Jump is in position here. He wants to get up ahead, and look at Ethan Smith. He is not letting that 46 by, and I tell you what, you better watch out because he might get sent up into the 74.
And Ole Fonseca able to clear for the lead, but everything in his mirror does not look safe as Trent Jump, Ethan Smith goes high into the defensive lane to protect that position. Jump hoping that he can clear off the exit of turn 2, or at least on the entry of turn 3, but that's going to be difficult. This is 46, touches the apron, he's wiggling and loose, and now almost getting into the 0-0.
He's trying to hold on, but he's got his teammate, the Logan Breaky, behind him. That's the one lucky situation he's got here, is Breaky's going to try to push him into that corner, but just not close enough. Is it stacking up there? No, almost wrecking.
Oh boy, Logan Breaky now going to have to go on the apron. Trent Jump almost goes to the apron, and somehow they all hold on. And it's Trent Jump, the better run for himself, as drivers deeper in the field really starting to lose ground for themselves. It's Christopher Norris that had a major scare for the 38 machine on top of what our leaders did. But a battle for second still heavily underway.
That it is, man. That stack up there was huge. I think Fonseca, trying to save his stuff, is just backing these corners up. Everybody else has a different agenda, and right now it's again stacking up here in 3, and this is allowing the 0-0 to go forward here. Is now, what does Nick Crawford do? He's in a weird predicament here with Trent Jump right behind him. He's going to look to the inside once again here.
Bone going to the inside, slightly grazing the grass, but trying to, again, clear his way forward. But we're into a run so deep where the outside lane is going to be the stronger position to be to hold off from each spot. Every time someone tries to battle for a position, he's going to try to go to the outside and defend. And Trent Jump, he looks like he's willing to get aggressive, and Ethan Smith, he might have done all the battling he needed to kill these tires, as Nick Crawford not fully clear just yet, as Ole Fonseca once again defends for another lap.
Fights back, got that side draft there right off the exit, and that was the critical spot. If that 74 cleared, it was game over from that positioning, but Nick Crawford able to wrap that bottom so well, but the 24, again, not allowing him to come up the racetrack. That's exactly what you got to do if you're up top there, if you're at 24. Do not let his 74 clear. If he clears you, you know you lost the clean air.
That's Nick Crawford's progression. So surprising to see, Zach. I mean, think about all the past seasons, the regular season. He's been one of the more passive drivers. He's got the least incident points out of anyone that has ran full-time for the ISRC Truck Series this season. And with the way he's running, he might be willing to junk up this truck for this championship.
He's looking that way, Sam. He's getting the elbows out. That was one thing we talked about all season long, like you said. He just never seemed to be too aggressive. And right here into the entry, pretty aggressive there. Kind of put the 24 up the racetrack, and that's what he's got to do. He's got to have the room here to turn down onto that line, and it's just Fonseca fighting hard. If I'm Trenton Jump, I'm liking what I'm seeing here, and Fonseca's not giving him anything. I mean, he is literally leaning on the door on the front straightaway. He is making sure that 74 has the tightest way around this racetrack and having to heat that tire up.
Has to be picture perfect for that 74, but at the same time, one bad mistake, it gasses up too early. He could slide around and lose touch to this vehicle. We've already seen drivers get loose and loop it for themselves, but Ollie Fonseca, once again, he gets the lead. His center of the corner is just so slow compared to the rest of the field. As try and jump, Ethan Smith get a little bit of contact with one another. But man, it's just Ollie is putting so much frustration on the rest of the field right now with the way that he is just in center off of his corners.
And you got to expect at some point, if you keep checking it up like that, maybe some contact will be made. As now Trenton Jump, he's having to defend here from Ethan Smith. And again, once again down here, we'll see, does it get checked up again? Because 24 just trying to go slow enough to keep the lead. And that's one game you play here. It's a cat and mouse game. You get out front, you want the clean air, but you don't want to go too fast to keep the lead because that hurts your tires also. And that's why drivers like this are, I mean, you can see how close it was there with Trenton Jump because the 24 just checked the 74 up. So it's getting dicey up here. If you're Christopher Norris back there battling for 6, you got to be liking what you're seeing up here with these 3 guys just going at it.
Liking it, but at the same time, I'm nervous if I see this 38 machine. I know Christopher Norris, when he's in these tight, critical, and you have to be perfect situations, there's sometimes where he can slip up, maybe cause some contact with other drivers. We saw it last week. We almost saw it at Bristol, trying to get into the playoffs, the last race of the regular season. Plenty of opportunities where we've seen drivers just kind of fumble the bag away and have their chances to move forward and make mistakes. But I think this is the best thing for the 38 is everyone's settling down now and single filing out.
Single filing out, they are right for now. As Trenton Jump got passed by Ethan Smith after that dogfight between those two there. But it's still Ollie Fonseca with the 74 all over the back bumper up front. And Christopher Norris here closing in on Mark Morales. If he can get past Morales, he's got a shot here to get right behind this group and be right in the mix for this longer run. Because this run here is going to be on the longer side of things here. You know, this is going to be the longest run they have all night. Coming to, you know, their last pit stop, hopefully, for them if it stays green. You got to be very persistent here if you want to get this done. You can't go out there and overwork the tires. And I think that's what the 24 is just trying to do out front. Just go just fast enough to hold this 74 back.
Trying to hold back these drivers at this time. As 24 and talking to him and his team, there's a lot of trying to find the right pace to protect these tires for the long run. And a lot of trying to steal, you know, notes. I know Ollie Fonseca, Nick Crawford, Christopher Norris, they did some practicing sessions with one another, and Ollie and his team were trying to figure out how to steal different notes, steal the strategies of how they were saving their tires for the long run, so then we can take those strategies and put it in this 24 machine. Certainly right now, he is trying his best to defend and hold these tires strong as that battle for third. Certainly the one that I'm most nervous about, because Ethan Smith, he has shown some very dicey entry points for these drivers, and I'm just getting more and more concerned on what the tires are looking like for that 00 once we get another 10, 15 laps into this run.
Oh, you're exactly right, Sam. The way he's been dicing it up, you got to imagine those tires have overheated just a slight bit here. Is just driving into 3, then jumping back to the throttle. I mean, everybody's landing on the line here right now, and it's just showing. Even if you're not in the Final 4, you're trying to, you know, settle some grudges maybe you had from earlier in the season, how certain drivers have raced you, and Ethan Smith definitely not giving up on those.
And now Ethan Smith, he is surrounded by the championship 4 as Christopher Norris has moved up to 5th place. his patience has worked out, and that 38 has been the fastest truck on track for the past 5 to 6 laps. Even with trying to pass other drivers, he's been closing in on this gap. And now it's time to see what this true round of Ethan Smith and Christopher Norris is going to look like once this 38 tries to make this pass.
It's been a great rebound from the 38 machine, and I can tell you, his long run pace in that very first run was pretty strong. We'll have to see if that continues on. And man, I tell you, as a driver myself in Final Four races like this, you can get so blindsided racing the other guys around you that that fourth guy sometimes can sneak up on y'all and just say, well, while y'all battled so hard, I went forward. But even there, looking at the nose of that 38, he does have a slight bit of damage. Doesn't seem to be hurting him, but there is a little bit of damage on the nose of that 38 machine.
Gotta think it came from that giant checkup. Christopher Norris was in the middle of a huge pack where he really didn't have space to avoid anyone. But imagine that's where he picked up that front end damage for the 38 machine. But like I said, I mean, the fact that he is keeping up the pace even with that damage, that's been a big talking point with a lot of these drivers. Is you scrape the wall, you get slight contact, it almost feels like your race is over. This 38 still looks like he's in the fight.
He's definitely in the fight here, Sam. He's close right to the back bumper of Ethan Smith here. What can he do with the 00? I mean, that's going to be the question. It was contact between those two last week that, you know, Ethan Smith felt wrong by. Now what's he going to do in this situation? And again, he's out here in the Punisher car. He's trying to get his vengeance. And right now he's got a chance to do it with that 38 right behind him. So I'm sure it's going to be a tough pass if this 38 gets it done.
Trying to get the vengeance. Well, his back bumper of the 00 says, I am vengeance, as he is trying to hold on for this spot. And we've got to remember the 46 also dealing with slight rear end damage after being tapped a couple of times by other drivers in that giant checkup. So drivers all around dealing with slight damage with these vehicles, but still in strong positions. You see our top two trying to pull away. It's Christopher Norris, high-low, anywhere he can go, and he just can't find an opening that he feels the most confident to go for this pass. And Zach, I would say with the pitch strategies that can be opened up here in the next 15 to 20 laps, sitting right here in fifth isn't the worst spot when everyone's this close to one another.
It really is not. As long as you're staying close to that group of Nick Crawford and Alex Fonseca, and you know Trenton Jump and Ethan Smith aren't dropping you back, then you're feeling good. You're right in the catbird seat, in my opinion, because you get to see everything play out right in front of you. You don't really have to be up front worrying what's behind you, because when you're up front, you're looking forward. You're not looking in the rear view mirror. You're not looking at your relative trying to see where people are at. You're trying to focus and hit your marks each and every lap. Christopher Norris, though, he has the whole game plan right in front of him, and he just needs to, from this point here, figure out how he's going to work over this 00 to get just that one more better position to push him right in the mix.
Keep yourself close. Our top two pulling away from the rest of the field, and with no surprise with how aggressive Trenton Jump and Ethan Smith's battles were with one another, I'm not surprised at all. They're almost 3 wide back there for sixth place, and they are 3 wide as Cody Reed, GT Rosari getting mixy with trying to get by Logan Breaky, and Breaky's long run pace just doesn't look to be there. And what a surprising run by all 4 of the drivers in this shot, because all 4 of them caught up in that last incident where we saw the big one, drivers slipping and sliding everywhere, and they're still running up front aggressively.
That they are, Sam. All of them caught right up in it, and they're making their way back through it. And GT with an excellent pass, 3 wide on the bottom, got it done, and finally got past Reed there to hold on to 6. And here's already trying to make a little bit of a splash here in the last race of the season. And he's been known, you know, at certain tracks to be very quick on the long run. So we could see this 14 come up here and get right into the mix. But we are starting to see a little bit of time drop off from that third car of Trenton Jump there in that group. And like you said, Fonseca and Crawford opening up the gap. One thing we did see, though, last week at Atlanta, that 46 is willing to pit early and willing to risk it for that strategy to get out front and get clean air. We'll see what he elects to do here when we're getting closer and closer to that window opening up. Personally, that window from the make it all the way to the end opens at lap 98. So we could see pit stops even here in the next 3 to 4 laps.
Willing to risk that early stop. I mean, I was looking at fuel runs, and it looked like a lot were thinking around 45 laps was the marker that you felt the most confident hitting. You're going to go the distance as Christopher Norris to the inside of Ethan Smith. And Ethan Smith not doing a heavy block on the 38, but I think recognizing it's going to be all about just stopping the momentum, stay to the outside lane, get the better launch out of the corner, and keep the 38 side by side. And this is going to be enough as through the tri-oval, almost contact once again through these drivers. And now into turn number 1, the 38, hoping that the way that he saved these tires is enough, and he's by the 0-0.
What a good pass there by the 38. Didn't get held up too much there. Is now this 0-0 going to look for a position out of back straightaway with the run he had, and now he's going to block in the 38 there. And he'll have to see what does the 0-0 do. He bumps him and almost wrecks him there.
Tap, hold on, another incredible save. Norris had to deal with a great one at the end of last week's race to get him into the Final Four. An incredible save there. That could have been the championship-ending bump, but the 0-0 goes to Christopher Norris.
That it was, and we'll see can the 38 scamper away. He's definitely looking quicker at the moment, so he just needs to put his head down. Cannot focus on that 0-0 too much here, as he does open the gap up there out of 2. He needs to focus forward, catch up to that 46 machine, then get yourself in position for that final pit stop. Man, what a good save there by him, but definitely Ethan Smith not making it easy on that 38.
No, you knew at some point there was going to be either a block or a bump, and Ethan Smith not happy about the block. Felt like he gave that position cleanly and thought they were going to have a clean battle. Didn't happen. So, all right, I'll give you the bump and show my retaliation. And they hold on. They keep moving forward, and up front, it is all the 24 of Ollie Fonseca. And Zach, got to say, for Ollie, that checkup that he was doing to save those tires, it is working out as he's keeping that 2/10 gap lead over Nick Crawford.
He's really done a great job. Yeah, and again, he was just going fast enough. That's what you got to do, and that's the beauty of it out front, is the clean air is so valuable. But with that clean air, you can run very fast lap times that do kind of allow you to get a little greedy sometimes and just go that little bit too much faster than you need to and burning the tires up. He was just going just fast enough to keep the lead, and that's so critical for him, because right now, continuing just to open that gap up slowly by, every single lap, and that's going to be critical when we get down to his pit stops. It's going to give him more options than the ones behind.
As these drivers you see in the middle of the field, this is battling for 11th, 12th, and 13th. John Forbes in the 11 machine, the 2 of Danny Cochran trying to catch Martin Morales Jr., who Martin did a great job keeping himself battling in our top 5. It was incredible to watch him being up there, but the long run pace not there for the 91. But once again, this playoffs has been kind of a magical moment for Martin Morales. I cannot wait to see what momentum he builds into season 5, which I've been looking at the schedule, Zach. It got released to the drivers. A lot of drivers excited for the upcoming season 5 because it's a lot more of the traditional racing, not a lot of experimentation on which tracks we're going to. A lot of these drivers feel like they can put practice in to develop and get faster each week.
That they will, man. That's, traditional tracks are what everybody has experience in, and that's going to allow a lot of people to feel more confident. And confidence is a huge thing as a driver. When you go to a track and you're just confident, it just flows that much better for you. As we're having a good little battle here with Martin Morales and John Forbes. As Forbes made the pass, but just didn't have the momentum he needed to clear that 91 here as he dove back to the inside. As battle for 10th is still on there for them. As again, this is getting close to that window, man. I mean, they can pit now and make it to the end here on fuel. But I think everybody's waiting to see who pulls that trigger first, who goes out there and risks getting that early stop done.
I mean, and if you're one of those drivers that pitted early on that first green flag run, it's got to be a little bit messing with your psyche on, do you want to be that first driver again? You want to test that strategy, because if you pit again and a late caution comes out, it can force the hand of some other drivers being trickery and trying to set these drivers down a lap down, keep them a lap down. And you don't know if you're going to get those late cautions. It's going to allow you to get the lucky dog spot. As seeing that again, this battle is fantastic to watch as John Forbes trying to scamper away. Now Danny Cochran and Joshua Freed trying to set up to get by the 91.
And then make the passes here around that 91 is Reed there having the run Danny Cochran there having the run he needs off the exit to get alongside, and it's going to bring Freed, like you said, right into the mix here. So we'll see who can get the job done. As it looks like Breaky going to be the first one to hit pit road here to 29, coming down early. He was very similar in a similar boat last time during that first stage. He sticks to that, and we'll see how it works out for him.
He's in 8th place. We'll see how much time he can gain up on these drivers that might decide to stay out for a little bit longer. But I like that call that you were talking about, lap 105. That could be 105, 106. Could be a good wiggle trying to get into pit road. I know some drivers may be thinking about staying out as long as possible to trap these drivers a lap down. Who would be the gutsy driver to try that strategy out? As we're 105 laps in, thank you so much to everyone who's been joining with us here tonight. It's the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series, the championship race. We've had ourselves a couple of cautions with the stage break and a big one. But overall, this race has been a good one. The drivers in gold are your final 4 running for a championship. All they have to do is be the first driver to finish of those 4, and you win the Season 4 championship. As we've seen, Ollie Fonseca leading the way, but pit stops about to come under fire as Danny Cochran dived it to the inside of Martin Morales.
That he is here. He's been fighting hard. He was on the outside at one point, now back to the inside as these 3 have been dicing it up here as Ford's now going to have that 2 looking to his inside here for position. So these guys have been battling hard for around this 9th, 10th, and 11th spots. It looks like all of them are just having a good, fun battle here to close out their season, and that's what it's about here. These guys are just trying to get what they can here to close it all out.
More drivers calling it a night. Joshua Altus is coming to pit road. He is done, but one of our top drivers, inside highest runner currently coming to pit road, is GT Rosario in the 14. Now makes his stop as he was running in 6th place. And now we're starting to see drivers aiming on where to go as Mark Morales almost scraping the outside wall in the entry of that corner, trying to get every little bit of this course to keep the momentum up on these older tires. He scrapes the wall again off the exit of turn 2.
That he does. That was a close call for him. It was lucky. It was just a scrape, and he keeps it out of the wall pretty hard without hard contact. He holds on to that moment for the position for now, but Freed going to have the run to the inside. Can Freed get it done? But it looks like the 94 with enough run off of 4 able to hold on, but it's side draft from Freed now back to the inside. So right here, nicely job by them by mixing it up. And I tell you, lap 108, I'm surprised, Sam, here we have not seen one of those 4 drivers in the final 4 hit pit road yet.
I think, as we talk about Ollie Fonseca, Nick Crawford, both going to be coming into pit road together as well. All 4 drivers into pit road at once. They saw one enter. No one said anything over the radio. They all just came in as a group.
I like this call here. Come in with them and make sure you're right there with them. I mean, Nick Crawford is pushing the 24 on pit road. This is what it's going to be about, though. Can you get into your box nice and clean?
Sliding into their box, Ollie Fonseca once again, he perfectly hits his mark. Other drivers, forward tires and fuel. We keep our camera on the exit because this could be the winning moment. We saw last season it was about who got out of pit road the cleanest. It was Danny Cochran making the pass on pit road, and Ollie Fonseca keeps the lead, and Nick Crawford keeps that of the 46 behind him. Christopher Norris gonna be 4th in line, and the championship 4 all out of their box, all getting back out on track. And this is your time for the duel. 40 laps to go. And let's see what these first 5 laps are looking like on these tires.
Tell you what, who gained a ton there? Trenton Jump. He was 1.7 seconds back, almost upwards of 2 seconds back from Fonseca. As they came out of pit road there, he's going to be less than a second back now. So that is huge for the 46. No longer going to have to deal with the 00 Ethan Smith either. That's going to be huge for him. So we could have this battle happen here. And Christopher Norris, not that far behind, only about 7 tenths behind the 46. So our top 4 whole pit road at once. This is going to be quite the show. And I tell you what made it the best there. Fonseca was into his box better than anybody. He was super aggressive, carried more speed, got the car slowed up earlier, and that really helped him as Nick Crawford seemed to be a little bit slow into his box.
Well, this might be our only time to take commercial breaks, so we're going to take this chance. Drivers are in line. Others are still making their pit stops, but our Championship 4 are not battling currently. We're going to take a quick commercial break. You won't miss a thing as we go side by side. You're watching the ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series Championship Race, the Freaky Fast finale at Charlotte. We'll be back right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Masker can't defend. He's got the outside line for the second part, and he can't hold on.
Going the long way around. We're going to be 3 wide for the lead as they all come to the line. Who is going to take it in the end?
And here comes Lockwood. He's going to make the move to the outside. Quinn tries to force it off a little bit, but there he goes. It's going to be side by side through turn 1.
Will he be able to cover him off? He does. Weaving back to the left-hand side. Reynolds is trying everything. The kitchen sink is being thrown at it.
They're leaning on each other. Coming into turn number 3. It's going to be a drag race through 3 and 4. Coming back to the line. Here comes Frisch on the bottom. Bouchard's going to hold the inside. Tries to be the late breaker here. They're going to be side by side through the final chicane. They bang doors, but keep it clean.
As they're still 4 wide on the run down into the back straightaway. Demerit's looking for a line as well. What is going on in Michigan?
Novak into the fence. They're still beating and banging.
Oh
and to the line.
He is much faster coming through there. Is there damage on Challenger? Abramitis is ahead. There's going to be a race to the line. Who is going to get it?
I think I watched Josh 3 or 4 times before I ran the car. He killed them every race, and it was like stout fields, like good cars, big races, and I mean, he was unbeatable. And I was like, oh man, this is, like, I'm nervous. I was so nervous getting into the car full time this year after watching Josh win 3 or 4 races straight. These cars, they have a lot of horsepower now. They have over 500, and I think 5 years ago they didn't have 450. They're gonna be a handful to drive, but just don't overdrive them. Let the car do the work.
Side by side, they continue to wrap the bottom as the 74 Nick Crawford. He's almost fully clear. You are watching the championship race of the ISRC Truck Series for the Freaky Fast finale at Charlotte, and Nick Crawford has played everything right. He fell back to third. Watch the beating and banging between Trent and Jump and Ollie Fonseca. Ollie and Trent get damaged, and the 74 now to the lead. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Hall, Rod Murray Jr. Rain Productions in the background, and Zach, our championship 4, all within 8/10 of one another.
Oh man, my heart is beating, Sam. This was intense. We were sitting here during the commercial break just watching that battle go on, and Nick Crawford played it perfect, like you said. I mean, he let the 46 to 24 battle. He played that so well because the 24 probably had to overheat his tires holding back the 46. He waited, made his move, and now he's in the catbird position. And look at Christopher Norris. He has ran all of them down. He's right here. Our final 4, we couldn't ask for a better race here. They're all on top of each other.
That'd be 25 laps to go. And Christopher Norris, the thing about the 38 is he was hoping for Ollie to keep his teammate pinched down, use up the 74's tires, maybe a little bit more. It didn't work out. And now for Norris, he has been one of the fastest. When we look at the data through all the practices, the long run is where the 38 has been thriving, which has been a complete opposite of his whole entire ISRC career, Zach. This 38 might have found them. Oh no! Taps that as Trent Jump, almost wrecking the 46. Throw it all the way. Norris is spinning. Gonna keep it down on the apron. And the 38, the 46, they're out of this now.
Well, man, so quick for him, and he almost threw it away. And the big thing for him, Sam, if he'd have brought the yellow out, I mean, he would have felt terrible right there for his teammate and Nick Crawford. Luckily, they both save it. That's great wheelmanship from Trent and Jump, holding on to that machine. But like you said, I mean, that just takes both of them out of it. Christopher Norris, it's showing a little bit of inexperience there, just getting a little too overzealous, driving in too deep.
Talking about the fact that he hasn't been the fastest driver on the long run at all in any of the races we've watched before, and I don't think he was expecting that big of a closing rate, and he just completely ran over the 46 machine, and now it's down to a 2-horse race. Nick Crawford, Ollie Fonseca, Ollie's dealing with a little bit of left side damage after a door bang from Trent Jump under a commercial break. That Nick Crawford dealing with probably one of the freshest tires based off the way that he treated them during those early portions of this run. As we've got less than 25 laps to go here tonight, it is looking like Nick Crawford is setting sail to get redemption after how last season's Final 4 race went down. 74 is just crossing his fingers that we don't get a late caution.
That he is, Sam, and also he cannot go too fast. This is easy to do. When you get out front, you kind of lose that marker in front of you to say, okay, I need to go this fast to not use my stuff up. He cannot go out here and just drive away. You got to manage your equipment, make sure you hit clean, concise laps every single time. And I know from speaking to Nick Crawford, this is a problem for him even. He says and Danny Cochran there, he's off the racetrack, luckily getting it back going. But man, like, this is a problem, like I was saying, for Nick Crawford, where he likes to have that measuring stick in front of him. And sometimes when he gets out in front, he says he just goes a little bit too fast. And I know for myself, it's easy to do.
As I'm just looking at this field right now, Zach, there are a lot of drivers struggling with this truck late. A lot of drivers over-driving, get a little bit overzealous, and they've been getting loose off of the exit at times, extremely tight, and drivers are getting very mixy with one another. And the driver that's on the freshest tires, it's the 00 of Ethan Smith in 8th place, as he's trying to run down and gain as many positions as possible. And for Ethan Smith, I mean, he's trying to catch up to some of the drivers, maybe get some more retaliation with 20 laps to go here tonight at Charlotte.
He's definitely liking those new tires. That's going to allow him to get more and more time gained on this group ahead of him, which he's got John Forbes, GT Arzari, Cody Reed, all right there next in line for him to go up there and battle with. He's got to get around this 6 machine, Justin Smith, the lap truck. But as the laps click away, you got to be sitting in the position if you're Nick Crawford saying, when's the caution coming? That is one thing I know myself as a driver. When you got a lead and you're starting to drive away, you just know that caution is looming around the next corner, and you just are waiting for it to know what you need to do. We'll see if that plays out, but right now it seems to be in Nick Crawford's hands here to the end if it can stay green.
Nick Crawford, you look back to last season, his rookie season of the ISRC, he found himself getting just one win at Bristol, 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s, and was wrecked out 27 laps into the championship race. And he felt like he had an opportunity to win that championship last season. He felt like he was quick, but he was thrown away so quickly. Now here, with less than 20 laps to go, Nick Crawford, he elevated himself. He got 2 wins this season. He got 10 top 5s. He had the most top 10s with 13 out of all the drivers here this season. You look at the stats, he was the most consistent and looked like the driver that could battle for a championship. And Zach, he's proving that here tonight. He elevated his racing. He got a little bit more aggressive at times, found the equalization of patience on top of that, and the 74 leading, pulling away, now over a second on Ole Fonseca.
That he is, man. He's got that gap and continuing to build. And Fonseca here having to deal with Eric Stamp. That's going to slow him up just that much more. Now Nick Crawford, he's got to think about this 53 machine. This 53 here, much fresher tires. When he gets up to you, you can't let him play too much of a factor here. You cannot let him just sit on your nose and burn your stuff up. You got to be clean and concise. We'll see what the 53 does here when he gets to him. But Nick Crawford is counting the laps down in his head.
Counting them down, but also thinking back to the past. Nick Crawford found himself getting his first win of this season back at Fuji when he was having the best duel you could ask for at the road course with Trenton Jump. And at that race, Eric Stamp got out of the way on the last lap, let the two just duel it out and allowed the 74 to go into victory lane at Fuji. Could Eric Stamp decide to be a little bit of a spoiler here tonight and try to close in on the gap? Use up those tires and allow Ole Fonseca to close in on this gap? Or will the 53 just try to pass as soon as possible?
We'll have to see how it plays out here. I mean, it very well could be in the mix, but knowing Eric Stamp, I just feel like this guy is way too respectful and way too much of a gentleman to try to go out there and try to play any factor in this championship. He's just going to try to go by him and try to scamper away with those fresher tires. So we'll see what happens when he does finally get there. But the gap continues to grow here, Sam. And I do have to think Ole Fonseca there dealing with a little bit of damage there in that door. That's got to be hurting that speed just that little bit in the truck. And for him, you got to feel, because he was in control of this race, did an excellent job on pit road. But it's so hard when you're out front. You're the driver that's getting attacked. And sometimes it's better to be the driver that's just the rear gunner, just sitting in the background, letting everything play out. And that's kind of what Nick Crawford did. And you got to commend Ole Fonseca for the race he's ran so far here tonight. The thing he's hoping for, though, is we have some type of yellow to bring us back to pit road to give him a shot.
And Eric Stamp got tied off the exit of the corner. A leader dealing with the lap traffic side by side off the exit of the corner. Losing a little bit of ground. 13 laps to go. And Eric Stamp, he's in a position to hold up the 74 as much as he can here.
That he is. We'll see if he gets around here now. He's going to get clear of the 74. And the thing that Nick Crawford's going to be hoping here, just drive away from me. Don't sit on my nose. Don't give me the dirty air. I need you to pull away. We'll see if he can. But right now, the 53, he's got the pace with the tires, but it does seem like he's starting to fall off a little bit. That's going to be the last thing Nick Crawford wants to see here in these last few laps.
Now will the 53 decide to just run these laps? He's running the middle lane, trying to find any position to pull away. And at this moment, not able to do so, as the field is settling into a spot where Eric Stamp, once again, just cannot get by fully. And he continues to play this game around one another. Here's a battle going on for fifth place, Cody Reed, Ethan Smith. Ethan Smith trying to get by Cody Reed as fast as possible. Double zero quick, but I think he might run out of time if he's going to catch up to Christopher Norris here late, as 11 laps to go, about to be 10 when Nick Crawford crosses the line.
That it will be, Sammy. I don't think enough time for Ethan Smith to get back up there, but commendable there from that 53. I think he knew, hey, at some point here I'm going to start to struggle for tire wear, and I'm just going to be right in the path of the 74. You got to love that, man. That right there is just great sportsmanship. He's a teammate of one of the Final Four guys. It helps his teammate to slow Nick Crawford up, but he's not doing that, and that right there is so commendable at 53. I just got to give him a major props there for that, because he's just taking the L and riding behind the leader for now, just trying to do it. But sometimes even having a driver behind you can play mind games with you. But for Nick Crawford, he's opened it up to 1.6 seconds now. He was 2/10 faster the last time by. He just needs to be smart and methodical here and get to that white flag.
Trying to find a way to get by the 91 of Mark Morales. Other drivers trying to finish out this race. What a run it's been. What a season. We've had 7 different winners. We've had a total of 8 different pole sitters throughout this season. And it has been a fun one to watch. We've seen dominance from Mark Whitley during the end of the regular season and during the first couple of rounds of the playoffs. But ever since then, we've seen the elevation and seen drivers step up that we never could have imagined would have stepped up to this moment. And Nick Crawford seen his second opportunity to go for a championship. This is his second appearance in the Final Four, and he might be able to finally get that championship that he wanted last season. Wasn't able to get it done, as he's got himself just 8 more laps to go.
I mean, Sam, I think back to the finale of the long run, man. The heartbreaker that he went through, the season finale there at Phoenix, just, you know, unfortunate contact between him and Danny Cochran, and Danny Cochran meant nothing by it. He was racing hard. Those two came together, and it was a very much a racing incident that happened. And for him to have redemption like this would mean the world to him. I've known this guy for literally since 2016. I've been racing with him and been a close friend of Nick Crawford, and he's never won a championship. If he's able to get this done tonight, it's going to mean the world to this guy because, again, he's just never been in this position to get this done.
I mean, coming into this race this morning, I was decided, you know what, I'm just going to rewatch the long run, kind of get into that mode of a championship race, how the driver was thinking back to last season. And Nick Crawford talked about his weaknesses, felt like he wasn't fast, he wasn't consistent, and he felt like the one thing that was always there for him was his luck to get into these positions, to go for the win. If he was able to get in the positions to find himself in a spot, and you could say the luck wasn't there at the beginning of this race, but it certainly did turn around after that last pit stop. Seeing Ollie Fonseca and Trenton Jump make contact with one another, it opened up the luck light there, but with 6 coming to 5 laps to go, he's got to hope that that lucky charm is still working and hopes that a late caution doesn't come out.
You're exactly right, Sam. He's hoping for that lucky charm to keep going because, man, we thought he was in the worst situation possible early in this race. It was looking gloomy. He never gave up. He gained position on them old tires, and I think even doing that, when you're a driver on old setter tires and you can gain spots from people ahead of you that have fresher tires, you gain a little bit of confidence just knowing, hey, if I can get in the right position, I have the pace, I have the willingness to do it. And ever since he's gotten to that lead, it has been no doubt him. He's just been pulling away. And man, I tell you what, Sam, he just wants to see the white flag. That is all you are as a driver. You know, once you get there with the gap you have, you just need to make a solid lap around this place and you'll be the champion. And I mean, there's no better fitting sponsor on his car if he's able to get it done.
We're joined up still officially for this season with Snowy Desert Racing, but in the middle of the season, right before the Fuji race, teaming up, same with Christopher Norris with Revline Racing, and they decided, hey, you take over the champion scheme and run this. He won at Fuji, and ever since he changed teams, officially working with Revline, Zach, Nick's been a completely different driver. He's been competing up front, has been a threat almost every single race, and like you said, a fitting sponsor for tonight's run. 3 laps to go.
Like I said, man, I've known this guy for so long. I mean, it's going on now for 7 years, almost 8, and his confidence has never been higher. And that's one thing I love to see from a close friend of mine like this. And if he's able to get this done, this is going to mean the world to this guy. And with just 2 laps to go here coming this time by, he just wants 1.5 more miles to get the white flag, because then he knows it's in his hands.
It's in his hands. 2 laps to go for Nick Crawford to crown himself a champion. Now a lap and a half as a 74. If he sees the white flag, this race becomes an official run, and there will not be a yellow flag thrown. And the 74 through 3 and 4, confident, securing himself at a turn number 4. No other drivers are close to one another. No yellow flag expected. And at a turn number 4, it's your Larry Art Productions white flag thrown for Nick Crawford. Zach, just 1 more lap for a championship.
It's a lap of glory here, Sam. 2.5 seconds of a gap. Nick Crawford, no worries in his mind. He can take this full lap in and just enjoy it. Enjoy that he has done it. He's going to be the champion, and 1 more corner just to get it done for this man.
Gunnar Moniz pulls over, let the 74 get the champagne ready. It was disappointment, it was depression last season, but this season, give him the championship scheme. Nick Crawford, season number 4 champion.
What a drive, man. I tell you, it makes me a little emotional that this guy gets it done. Like I said, I've known him for so long, and he's wanted one of these so bad, and he gets it done here, man. Not a better way to do it. So great drive by him. Also valiant effort by all of our top 4 there. They kept it close, and I tell you what, they put the effort in all week, and that's why they finished top 4 like they did.
All the drivers gonna come over and give their taps of congratulational taps to 74. And what a season it's been for that of Nick Crawford. 3 wins officially for this season. He now ties with the most top 5s with 11, solidifies the most top 10s with 14 this season. He was one of the best drivers if you look at the stats of our Final 4. And Nick Crawford gets to burn it down here at Charlotte. Congratulations to the 74 team. He got the redemption, he got the championship, and now gets to have the fun as the 74 gets to burn it down. We're going to step away. When we come back, we'll talk to our top 3 and a spotlight driver right after this. Man, what a race, what a season, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show here on Freaky Fast Broadcasting. Before we get to interviews, we want to give a huge shout-out to a race that we have coming up here next month. It is going to be our Gamers Outreach 600. We'll touch on it more if you want to stick around after our interviews. Let's head to Victory Lane, get the champagne ready, because we are going to go talk to your ISRC Race Car Graveyard Truck Series Season 4 champion. It's the 74 champions machine of Nick Crawford. Nick, how are you feeling after this one?
I don't know, Sam. I don't think it's set in yet, but it's really good right now, and I'm just glad it all worked out in the end. But it's gonna be a good night.
That it will be, Nick, man. Can't wait to talk to you after this and celebrate this thing, man. I like I said, I've known you for 8 years. I know how much you've been working for this, how much preparation you put in this week. I mean, take us through the trials and tribulations. It was a up and down race. You had a caution come out at a point you probably didn't want to see it, and you bounced back. I mean, how much mental fortitude did that take tonight?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a downer there. The whole time I started on pole, and I always want to lead a lap, so I led a lap, and then once Ollie started making some moves to get to the lead, I switched to the strategy of staying behind him on purpose so that I could short pit him. I think it was Ollie or it was Trenton. I think it was Trenton. But I stayed behind them on purpose for the stage so that I could short pit them without them having the heads up. And then I came out and it was gonna be good. We were gonna more than likely hold them off for the stage. But then that caution came out. I think the only thing that really saved me is I was the lucky dog, so I got to line up in front of all of the wave around cars, and then after that it just went crazy. I had to get past the people in front of me, at least get to Ollie when he was leading, and I had 5-6 lap older tires, and it was tough to just hang there. But once we got to Ollie, it was the same thing. It's just stay behind him, but I think he caught on because he was backing up the corners a lot, and then you got a guy like Ethan, on your tail end, and he's backing me up into Ethan. I think at one point I was sideways into 3, and it was just hopefully letting it settle out. It did, and then I was going to do the same thing, but then I think Danny came over the radio, said that Ollie was pitting. So I was like, oh, well, I guess we're all coming in on this lap. So we all did. I think the whole top 4, championship 4, came in on the same lap, and I gained a lot on Ollie. And then, again, it was the same thing. Try to stay close enough to him, save tires. That's what we really worked on this week, and find a way to get past him. And then Trenton came up, and I was like, oh, let me let these guys race and burn up the tires. And I think he got damaged when they were racing together. Ollie says no, but we were able to catch him, pass him, and pull away. And fortunately, no late race cautions came out, so we got lucky.
Yeah, those like rigs cautions, we were curious if they were going to come out and change this race, Nick. But let's also go back to last season. You made it to the Final Four in your rookie season. You didn't get to race very long in that championship race. How much did that race kind of influence you into this season and going for this championship?
I've definitely been thinking about it. I've been telling my teammate Norris all day, I'm like, I have trauma from last season. Everybody in this league has been racing pretty clean with me so far, so I didn't expect it, but I was prepared for it. So I'm glad I got further than 27 laps this time. It's definitely a plus. But yeah, I was definitely thinking about it.
Well, Nick, again, congratulations. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
As always, I have to shout out my beautiful wife. She's the most amazing thing in the world, amazing person. She's so supportive. I have to shout out my teammate, Christopher Norris. He was just as fast as I was today, but he got put in some tricky situations, and he would have been right there with me. I owe a lot to him. He gives me so much information, so much practice, and we practiced a lot this week for this race. Shout out to Cat 5 guy, Zach. He gave us a lot of information. You, Zach Hall, not some random other Zach, but and then shout out to Revline, shout out to Champion, and then of course shout out to the broadcast team, Robert, Sam, and Zach. You guys always put on a really good show. I love watching these after, and I think I'm going to be watching this one for a little bit. And finally, shout out to my family members that were watching. I know my sister was. Hi, Alyssa. Hi, Shahid. Hi, everybody at home.
That is going to be your Season 4 champion, Nick Crawford, in the 74 champion machine. Congratulations, and enjoy the offseason, man, with this one.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, from victory lane, from the highest of highs to probably the lowest of lows that we're expecting to have, we head on down to second place with Ollie Fonseca. Ollie, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. You come away second place. You led most of the laps here tonight, but you come up one position shy. Man, how are you feeling after this one?
Yeah, I'm just really thankful for the opportunity to race with these guys and all the support. Just came up a little bit short. I don't think I've ever raced so hard in my life trying to keep Nick behind me the first time before we came down for green flag stops, and then once I don't know where I said to my spotter, I don't know where Trenton came from, but he somehow got into the picture, and at that point I was trying to hold them both off while trying to save my stuff, and it's just you just can't. So I held them off as long as I could, but by the time Nick got under me for the second time after I got done battling with Trenton, just the right front was gone. There was just no coming back from that. So that's a crappy way to end it. But I'm not bitter about it. I'm just like I said, I'm excited to just be here, and I'm so thankful for all the people watching and who have supported me. It's been a long 20 weeks, and not even that, just my whole growth with this league, starting my first season. It's just amazing to see how far I've come, and how hard that these competitors have pushed me to be, and just everyone supporting me and just bending over backwards to see me contend for these races. And it's just a pleasure running with these guys, so that's nothing to hang my head over.
No doubt, Ali. I tell you what, man, I love that mentality, bud. That's the best thing you can do to come out of here, because you drove a hell of a race. You really did everything you possibly could there to get it done. And I think this bodes well for you in the future. And I mean, how much confidence does this build for you heading into another season? Because I think once again, like after this season, you got to be one of the favorites heading into the next.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be back, and hopefully, I can actually get some wins. That's what I'm really looking forward to next season, is really being able to contend. Is the whole story with this season for me has been, forever the bridesmaid, never the bride, right? And you just constantly finishing second, third. When's it gonna happen? So I'm pretty confident. I've seen the schedule. There's a lot of good tracks on there for me, so I'm pretty excited to see what next season has to offer.
I mean, Ollie, it's been a joy to watch you through the building blocks. When we look back to season one, it was a lot of what ifs caught up in wrecks that couldn't allow you to finish. And then your second season that you ran, you got your first win. This season, you make it to the final four. I'm excited to see what you could bring next season for season 5. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout outs.
Oh yeah, I got a ton. I just got to thank my whole family first and foremost. They're actually here visiting me right now, and I know they were all watching tonight. It just makes me so happy to have them support me um, through all this, and just watch me week in week out. It's just I do it for them as much as I do it for myself. So it's just really it makes me feel really good to have their support every week. Um, I gotta thank Brandon, just the absolute best crew chief and spotter I could ever ask for. He did so much testing with me this week to prepare. I've never ran so many laps for practice for a race, since I started iRacing, and he was just there through thick and thin, through all of it, helping me get better, making graphs, doing everything he can to make me quicker. So I owe everything to him. I gotta thank my teammates. Just the opportunity to run with them. I had no idea it was going to turn out as good as it did when I first signed on, but they really brought out the best in me, and I just meshed really well with those guys. So thank you, Dakota, for bringing me on and giving me the opportunity. Thanks, Danny. He's always there with me in practice, learning with me, getting better with me. And he's been doing this a little bit longer than I have, so he's really a big help. And gotta just I'm just so thankful to be here, and yeah, it's just I'm ready for next season, man. Let's get this going.
Well, it's been an honor, Ollie, to watch you grow as a driver in this series. I cannot wait for next season. Congratulations on second, and good luck next season.
Thank you.
As we go from second place, let's head to third place. Trenton Jump certainly did try everything in his power to keep close with the drivers up front, but it just did not work out. Trenton, it's Sam and Zach up at the booth. Congratulations on making it back to the Final Four, but man, how are you feeling after this race?
A little worn out. It was a crazy race for sure. It was a way harder race than I thought it was going to be. But for the most part, I kind of just glad everybody kept it clean for the most part, and it didn't get too crazy.
That it did. I tell you, Trent, you guys got as close as possible to not wrecking there, and great wheelmanship by you to hold on to that thing there. I mean, take us through there because you were about 1.7 back before y'all came to pits, and you did an excellent job getting on and off of pit road to be right there in the mix coming down to it and almost cleared for that lead just slightly. If you cleared for that lead, do you feel like it would have been in your hands at that point?
Yeah, it just once you have the clean air, I mean, it's game over. You run the line, you block their nose, and it's over. I mean, it's the way the trucks race at a lot of mile and a halves, and it's unfortunate that you can't run another line, but I mean, that's just it's product of the package, and you got to deal with it, and you got to find a way to prevail through. And I saw my opportunity, and I tried taking it, and just couldn't clear, and ended up heating my tires up a little bit more than I thought, and just got ate up.
I mean, Trent, it certainly was an incredible season for yourself. This season, you got your most wins ever in this third season for yourself with 4 and some of the best finishes you've had. What can you overall take from this season, though, and try to take into the next one?
My goal at the end or beginning of every season is just to make the Final Four. Just be able to give yourself that chance, no matter how many races you win. I just like to have that chance. Because then I just feel like I just wasted all my time. If you don't have the chance at the championship, then what are you doing? But there's a lot of things to be happy about from the season. There's a lot of positives. Our whole team as a whole was, I think, incredible. We took the team championship this year. There's a lot of positives to look back on. Definitely, it hurts a little bit. But we can still come back next season and try it because I know we're plenty capable of it.
Well, Trent, we cannot wait to see how next season turns out for you and this Armadillos Motorsports team. But before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, just want to thank the admins for running this thing. It's fun coming here every week and racing as hard as we get the race. Thank you guys for broadcasting this. I want to thank my teammates and owner at Armadillo Motorsports, Tanner, the owner, and me, and Eric, and Logan, and Noah. And I just want to thank Justin for painting this truck from Color Teal Graphics. I love running this thing every week for him and having his company on the hood and representing him and getting wins. So.
Well, that is going to be the 46 machine from the Color Teal Graphics machine of Trenton Jump. Congratulations on third, and good luck next season.
Take it easy, boys.
As we go from third place, our spotlight driver going to be fourth place finisher in the final 4 of our 4 drivers that made it to this point to run for a championship. We got Christopher Norris with us. Chris, you come away 4th here tonight, but what an incredible battle of keeping yourself in it when there were moments during this race we thought maybe you were out of it. How are you feeling coming away with 4th, though?
Hey, man, something just happened that makes it feel like a win. It was a pretty good race overall. The first start of the race definitely wasn't great, but I'm glad we were able to rebound. Just want to first off say real quick, I apologize to Trenton for getting into him. Wasn't expecting that move. Learning experience. Hopefully we can fix that for next time.
Well, I tell you, it was a Cinderella story for you, Christopher Norris. You definitely turned heads. I don't think many people were expecting you to get to where you got tonight. And to be right there in the mix coming down the end, I'm sure that's got to feel good. And like you said, a learning experience for you, man. In my book, you won. But what more did you need there other than that slight mistake? I know early in the race, those cautions kind of caught you out and you had to build up track position. But what can you take from the night at least to build off of this?
Yeah, honestly, I think I had 9 out of 10 steps. Only thing I really need to learn and to improve is patience. Patience. I had a mistake there where I accidentally, I guess saw got into back of Trenton. A little bit more patience, could have passed him the next turn 2 laps later, would have been a lot better. Tires were really great. I was showing about a 10, 2 laps faster than what Trenton and Ollie was showing. That battle, I was staying about a 10th back, which helped with clean air. So I think I got 9 out of 10 steps correct in my book. But just definitely need to improve when it comes to patience and some other things.
It still was an incredible season, Norris, to watch you run here tonight. Congratulations on making the Final Four and finishing 4th here tonight. And before we let you go, the floor is now yours for any shout-outs.
Thank you. Of course, I want to shout out my teammate Nicholas Crawford, of course, the Knights champion. I'm glad to show that we are the 2 teammates who made it to the championship. And hey, I may not have finished second or third, but at least he won. So now Snowy Desert Racing has a team championship and a championship title. Of course, Lids for sponsoring this car. Hopefully, I can get some more logos on there and some more shout outs from them this season. And then, of course, you guys for the great show. And then Zachary Hall, Brandon Colley for the amazing work they've done to help me improve. Definitely some trade secrets that I've been able to learn. My family for putting up with me screaming and yelling, especially at the end. But just overall, and also this league, they've done a great show. We're going into 5 seasons next time, so I'm glad we've been able to put on a show and hopefully continue for many more seasons.
That's going to be the 38 machine of Christopher Norris. Makes the Final Four, finishes 4th, but cannot wait to see how you perform next season. Chris, good luck on the off season, and good luck for going for a championship in Season 5.
Thank you.
Well, that's going to be your top 4, the Final Four. They were running for a championship, and Zach, I mean, what a season. It really did come down to those last couple of attempts, that last pit stop, and the last couple of bumps and bruises enabled the 74 to get up front. Man, what a season this was.
What a season, Sam. It always comes down to wild moments. We had our Final Four contenders all on top of each other after the last pit stop. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better way to close it out. A redemption story for Nick Crawford. Great. I mean, a rebound season for Trent Jump, a champion in Season 2. And then 2 drivers, Ali Fonseca and Christopher Norris, where I look back to the poll that they did. Only 1 driver each voted both of those drivers to be in the Final Four. So they proved everybody wrong, and they're going to come back in the next season and be right in the mix once again. I am thoroughly impressed with this league. It's been one of the best seasons so far of the first 4, and we cannot wait to get to Season 5 because I'm sure it's just going to be more classics like this.
I mean, 4 seasons, 4 different champions, and there are some very fast and angry drivers that were upset that they didn't make it to the Final Four. They're still searching for their first championship. Season 5, if you are not amped up for it, I know I am. It cannot come soon enough to see who can go for a championship. Will we finally see our first 2-time champion of this series, or could we see someone else take that opportunity? Well, here's your unofficial results of the night. Your Season 5 champion for this season is Nick Crawford in the 74, getting that win here this evening, the Freaky Fast finale. Ali Fonseca takes away 2nd. 3rd goes Trent Jump. Christopher Norris takes 4 for our Final 4. Ethan Smith takes 5th. 6th is going to be Cody Reed. GT Rosari 7th. 8th, John Forbes. Logan Breaking 9th. And Joshua Freed finishing out your top 10.
As you look through the rest of that leaderboard, man, definitely some Knights drivers that, wanted to be in the Final Four. You look at our defending champion, Danny Cochran. I think he's going to be one to circle for next season of what he can do to rebound from, this lackluster season, him not getting a win. I'm sure he'll come back out with more fire. I mean, it just showed how much he worked with his team at Fonseca there to get him ready tonight. So that team's strong. And even Mark Morales, I think he was one of the also stories. If he could have gotten the playoffs, where would he done? He had some great runs in there. So definitely all around. You even had Matt Oakbrook there in 15th. He had a Cinderella story there the first round. And just all around, man, it was a fantastic way to close it out here at Charlotte for the Freaky Fast finale at ISRC, man. I'm telling you, I'm ready for the next season already.
Next season cannot be excited enough for it, as these drivers set and prepared. The off season now for the ISRC Truck Series. They're going to have their fun. Take a break, take a breather, resettle in until they come back for Season 5. But for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, this is not the only championship that's going to be ran this week. We got more racing coverage at all of our other broadcasts that we cover. We got a race tomorrow night. It's going to be a good one. We're seeing the Full Send Racing Series drivers head to Atlanta in their trucks. Side-by-side racing, it's going to be chaotic, and it's the start of a brand new round. Then on Thursday night, it's the championship race for that of the Stars and Stripes Season 6 conclusion, and their track and destination for the last race, Bristol, the last Great Coliseum. Who is going to clash with one another? Got to find out Thursday night. Then more playoff coverage for the WSSR Roasted Gems Cup Series Saturday evening. We got 3 more series left to cover, and one finishing out on Thursday night. Thank you for joining with us, though, this evening. And Zach, I mean, I talked about it right before we started talking to the drivers. We also have our charity event, June 10th. It's the Gamer Outreach 600.
I can't wait for that also, Sam. It's going to be a fun time, man. Those Gen 4 Cup Series cars, all that horsepower, 600 miles, and doing it for a great cause there in Gamers Outreach. And we've been getting a good bit of signups here the last few weeks, so we're nearing that 30 driver mark here. So still some spots out there if you want to go out there and join us for not only a good cause, but also a great time here at Freaky Fast. I cannot tell you a better thing to do. So make sure you join the Discord here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. You can find all that down in the description, in the chat. It's all over the place there. And you can get yourself in our Discord and find the entry forms and get yourself in there. It's only a $5 minimum donation, and we definitely appreciate that because we've already crossed that $400 mark there for donations. So it's already great to see how we're our second charity event of the year is just doing wonderful things once again.
Their second one of the year, and it's our last one of 2023. So if you want to get involved with the charity event, this is the one to get involved with. Again, like Zach said, go to our community Discord channel, go to the charity events, and that will be where you find all the links to donate. Hey, if you can't donate with money, understand money can be stripped tight for people. At least share the event is another massive thing that you can do, and that's free to do, is just to share. Thank you again, though, to everyone that joined with us here tonight. What a race. The final four kept it close for the majority of the run, and the winning driver was the 74 of Nick Crawford. Congratulations to that driver, but for us here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us. For myself, Sam Dyer, for Zach Hall, Robert Moyer Jr., and everyone else here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, thank you for joining with us, and we will see you tomorrow night for our next Freaky Fast broadcast.